That was a perfectly observed minute's silence here in the great sporting city of Sheffield. Sheffield Wednesday at rock bottom in the Championship, without a league win this season. Can Rotherham take advantage? It's a massive South Yorkshire derby, and it's live on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2, with myself, Joe Shannon, and the former Sheffield United women's striker, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Sometimes in football, especially in front of a big crowd like this, in the huge arena that is Hillsborough, you're best off letting the crowd do the talking, and the Sheffield Wednesday fans will be loud and proud no matter what. An incredible noise on what is the first home game in charge for the new manager Danny Röhl, and you feel that if Sheffield Wednesday can't get inspired by that today, they can't get inspired by anything, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
No, definitely the fans have come out in full voice. Obviously, so far they've not had a lot to cheer about, but they're certainly playing their part already.
Goals as they go in across the afternoon. We've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby and NFL commentaries to come for you later, but we're off and underway at Hillsborough, and actually a false start. The referee is going to pull the play back, and kickoff will be taken again by Sheffield Wednesday. I think because both sets of players, maybe just in their excitement, the knee wasn't taken as it usually would be. The game began and everybody suddenly was in gameplay mode, and so the referee will pull it back, and we will see the knee taken here in support of the ongoing fight against racism and discrimination. The referee's whistle sounds for a second time, and the South Yorkshire derby is off and underway. Sheffield Wednesday playing from right to left on a sunny afternoon at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday in the blue and white striped shirts, blue shorts and blue socks, and Rotherham United from left to right towards the Kop end at Hillsborough in red and white. And they're on the attack very early on here through Fred Onyedinma, who commits a foul on the far side on George Byers, and it's a free kick to Sheffield Wednesday in their right back position on the far side of the field. I'll give you the teams in full. Sheffield Wednesday playing from right to left. We are right at the back of the main stand, a steep drop to the touchline and the dugouts below. Sheffield Wednesday with Cameron Dawson in goal, and I just wonder whether Sheffield Wednesday, well, it could be a back three at times this, but initially starting with Bernard, Iorfa, Diaby and James in defence, with Byers, Bannon and Patterson ahead of them, Musaba and Windass in support of Michael Smith, formerly of Rotherham, through the middle. And Rotherham United, Johansson in goal, Limbakisa, Morrison, Peltier and Bramall the back four, Rathbone, Tiehi and Cafu in midfield, Onyedinma and Apaya either side of Jordan Hugill up front. The first goal on a day like this, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, is going to be oh so important. A minute and 20 seconds gone. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Rotherham United 0.
Yeah, it's going to be massively important, and it's interesting. Will that mean that both teams come out aggressively to try and get that goal, or actually initially will we see quite a cagey game?
The Sunday session is off and underway on Talksport as Rotherham go back to goalkeeper Victor Johansson, all in black, and his clearance is high downfield, a thumping clearing header away by Dishon Bernard of Sheffield Wednesday, formerly of Manchester United, and Bernard wins a free kick up against Jordan Hugill, and Sheffield Wednesday launch it long straight away as they look to get a counter-attack started. Early ball in from the right from Windass, steered away by Morrison for Rotherham, and then scooped forward by Bramall up towards the halfway line. Chasing is Onyedinma. Down goes the Sheffield Wednesday defender on that far side, Iorfa, and the referee gives Sheffield Wednesday a free kick in that slither of sunshine that is on the far side of the field of play. Most of the field of play is in shade thanks to the huge roof of the south stand, and Sheffield Wednesday work it wide to the left, and James, his cross is cut out by a sliding Morrison. James then wins it back off Limbakisa, but is adjudged to have fouled his man. Rotherham get a free kick. High tempo, energetic start, and certainly noisy in the stands. 0-0.
Yeah, both teams have started well. Initially it was Onyedinma, wasn't it, for Rotherham down that left hand side, and then that quick free kick worked really well. Barry Bannon getting it out to Windass on that right hand side. You see what he's trying to do, just trying to whip it behind the defence for a first time pass. So as I mentioned, I wondered, would it be cagey, or we've got two aggressive teams, but I think we've got the latter at the moment, which should make for a great game.
Sheffield Wednesday, remember, bottom of the table and 3 points from 13 games this season. It's the worst start in the second tier since Crystal Palace had the same tally after the same number of games in the mid-70s. Sheffield Wednesday with Bernard inside his own penalty area, and the ball is knocked out of play by umpire, and that'll be a goal kick to Sheffield Wednesday and their goalkeeper Cameron Dawson in front of that huge cop end away to our right-hand side. Lots of Sheffield Wednesday fans packed in around us here in the South Stand. Their only win this season was on penalties in the first round of the EFL Cup against Stockport County in August. It's been very slim pickings in terms of success for Sheffield Wednesday this season. Darren Moore left into summer after guiding the club to promotion via the playoffs, and Zisco Munoz certainly didn't last long. His tenure brought to a rapid end, having failed to win any of his league matches in charge, with 2 points from his 10 games, and it's hardly got much better since. But for Rotherham, nearly no away win in a year, as the ball is knocked out of play by Christ Tiehi, and that'll be a throw to Sheffield Wednesday on the near side of the field as we look at it, with Bernard coming across to take it. And I just wonder, is it a back three for Sheffield Wednesday here, Courtney? You're looking at Iorfa, Diaby and Bernard perhaps, with James pushing on a little bit, perhaps Patson on the opposite wing.
See, I think what they're actually doing is they're different in and out of possession. So you see, when they're out of possession, they come back to a solid four, but in possession I think they're trying to get James up on this side, so it does turn into a bit of a three.
4 minutes and 40 seconds played, goalless as Rotherham win a throw on the near side there right, and it'll be hoisted in long this by Lee Peltier. It's only 6 yards or so from the corner flag in front of the cop end. Lee Peltier, who scored in midweek that crucial victory over Coventry for Rotherham United, just their second league win of the season. Long throw in towards Onyedinma Dinmer at the near post, and that's headed away by Patterson, who was caught by the flailing boot of Onyedinma, and Patterson wins Sheffield Wednesday a free kick inside their own penalty area. We haven't had a half chance in the game just yet. They're underway in the Sunday session over on Talksport with Sam Matterface live from Old Trafford, building up to the Manchester derby at 3:30. We'll have all of the goals as they go in from the Premier League. They're underway at London Stadium, West Ham against Everton. The 2 o'clock kickoffs are at Villa Park or at the Amex and Anfield. And we've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby to come on Talksport 2. Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints. That's followed by 3 NFL commentaries tonight. Onyedinma could be in down the inside left channel, but he's adjudged to have fouled Iorfa. And that's a free kick again to Sheffield Wednesday, midway inside their own half. And actually, as Byers takes the free kick, playing it wide to the far side, the right, it's actually been a relatively stuttering start to the game in terms of rhythm of play. Number of free kicks conceded by Sheffield Wednesday in particular. Here is a pyre for Rotherham, who've maybe had slightly the better of it in terms of territory and possession early on. Lembakisa high up inside the Sheffield Wednesday half, finding Ollie Rathbone with his back to goal. Lembakisa right in front of the Rotherham boss Matt Taylor in a dark overcoat and dark trousers. Wins a throw midway inside Sheffield Wednesday territory on this near side, the Rotherham right.
Yeah, and it's a game that so far, I think both teams, you see what they're trying to do. They're aggressive. They're getting close, as you imagine. It's obviously it's not a Sheffield derby, but it's a local derby, so there's definitely some bragging rights on the line. But there's still a bit of a lack of quality. But when you're looking at the season of both sides, that's probably just a bit of confidence.
And confidence sorely lacking for Sheffield Wednesday in particular, you would think. The ball is midway inside the Sheffield Wednesday half, and Rotherham win it back to a pyre, converged upon by 2 in blue and white. Barry Bannon, the Sheffield Wednesday captain, came across to make an important challenge, and eventually it's knocked upfield over the halfway line, where Lee Peltier is there to shepherd it back to his goalkeeper. Peltier, who I think caught the Dutchman Anthony Musaba with a flailing arm, and the referee's just come across and has stopped the game here momentarily, and that'll allow both coaches to call over both sets of players, and they can take on some water too, as Musaba, who joined in the summer from Monaco, receives some treatment. In fact, it's Anthony Musaba who scored Sheffield Wednesday's last goal on the 19th of September in the 38th minute against Middlesbrough, and they've now gone, Sheffield Wednesday, as the clock ticks towards 8 minutes gone here at Hillsborough, and have gone 600 minutes of football without scoring a goal. That is quite something. Yeah,
and I think it's always difficult as a forward then when you get into those positions. You're a bit rusty. You maybe snatch at things because you're so desperate to score.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, formerly of Sheffield United, is alongside me in the commentary box here, live north of the Steel City at Hillsborough. Here is Bannon knocking it back to James in the left-back position, steers it all the way to the feet of the goalkeeper Dawson, who classes the ball clear from the corner of his own penalty area, high towards Michael Smith up against his former club. It skimmed off the head of Sean Morrison, hooked out of play by Peltier, under pressure from Windass. Sheffield Wednesday win a throw midway inside the Rotherham half, and they got off to a good start in midweek at Plymouth, did Sheffield Wednesday. They played well for large spells of the defeats to Watford away at Vicarage Road as well. But it's still no goals and no points so far for Danny Röhl, who took charge relatively recently, of course, the new German manager of Sheffield Wednesday, his first senior managerial role, and that is some baptism of fire for him.
Yes, it's certainly a big job, but from what I've seen under Röhl, they certainly look a lot more stable, especially at the back. You know, that's the most important thing, to stem that flow first and foremost, and then you can, you know, add the goals, add the going forward, the dynamism, the connections that the players need to create.
Rotherham in their red and white, playing from left to right, scooped over the halfway line by Rathbone, but way too much on that for Arvin Appiah to chase, and through it goes to the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper Cameron Dawson. Rotherham are a tough nut to crack at the New York Stadium, but it's just not the same when they go on the road. Matt Taylor says he's tried just about everything to improve their away form, but it's no win, ironically, since they beat Sheffield United on the 8th of November 2022. That was their last victory on the road for Rotherham United. 0-0 here.
I remember that game very well, actually, and it was Blades were going great guns at the time, and it was a massive shock, wasn't it?
Sheffield Wednesday throw far side the right, taken quickly by Patterson, led with the edge of the penalty area, gets it back from Byers, 0-0, crossing towards Windass at the near post, trying a spectacular effort, blocked off by Peltier, hooked clear by Bramall, up towards the halfway line, and Diaby, who retrieves possession easily for Sheffield Wednesday. Bannon, the metronome in midfield, so experienced, the diminutive midfielder. With the thinning hair, he sends it back to the goalkeeper Dawson, all in purple. Dawson is still on the ball here, and you can hear maybe the frustration of the Sheffield Wednesday supporters around us. They want to get it forward. Huge crowd at Hillsborough, by the way. There must be not far off, maybe more than 30,000 here today. As Byers gives it away, Rotherham on the counter-attack. Rathbone should have footed it through towards Hugill. It was a really poor pass. Hands to his head. He knows it was a poor ball. And Sheffield Wednesday are on the counter. Masaba left-handed to the penalty area. Shoots! Saved by the goalkeeper. Back to Masaba. Lays it square. Smith pokes it in against his old club. Sheffield Wednesday have finally scored. And what a huge goal that could be on Derby Day. Is this the start of their first league win of the season? It's Michael Smith against his old team. It's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Rotherham United 0, and rare but sweet joy at Hillsborough for Sheffield Wednesday.
It's a real good move by Wednesday down this left-hand side. Masaba does ever so well, and initially that was the only thing he could do in terms of keep driving and then take the shot on, because I don't think actually the movement was that good in the penalty box. And then in terms of the save, when it comes back to Smith, to be honest, he makes a little bit of a hash of it initially. I didn't know whether he was going to miss it, but these are the times where it doesn't matter for these Sheffield Wednesday players how it goes in, but it's gone in the back of the net. That's important now. Can they build on this?
Nearly 10 hours of football without a goal. That run has come to an end. And Michael Smith recalled to the side today. What a moment for him. In front of the away end, the Leppings Lane end, packed with Rotherham United supporters. Rotherham behind on the road yet again, but Sheffield Wednesday into the lead. It'll be a heck of a long climb out of the relegation zone for Danny Röhl's team, but the first goal of the new era has arrived. And is that a basis maybe for a first league win of the season? A long way to go, just over 12 minutes played, but it's Sheffield Wednesday who've made the breakthrough, and this stadium really came alive there, Courtney.
Yeah, it did, and as you say, there's a long way to go, but it starts with small steps. You've got to start somewhere. So, you know, the good start to the game, the aggressiveness going forward, the good play down the left-hand side, and then Michael Smith getting that goal, it all adds up.
Forward by Bannon, high up the middle towards Windass, and it took a bounce. Bramall was across to cover with Peltier and Morrison nowhere, and it bounced through into the gloves of the goalkeeper Victor Johansson. And we spoke about Rotherham's nervousness away from home before the game, and this certainly won't help matters. A goal down inside the first 13 minutes.
No, it won't, but actually they probably started slightly better on you, didn't they, with that run down the left-hand side, but after that I think Sheffield Wednesday have grown into this game. The crowd have got behind them, And they've struggled, Rotherham, to really look composed going forward.
Iorfa's whacked the ball out of play. Into touch for a Rotherham throw on the far side of the field in the bright sunshine. In front of the North Stand, that huge and steep single-tiered stand. A venue of great size, Hillsborough. And quite intimidating when you're standing pitch side with the stands looming all around you in blue and white. Bramall has the ball and he's played it to Cafu. Cafu down by the corner flag for Rotherham United. The flag stays down. Sheffield Wednesday fans behind the goal wanted an offside, they didn't get it. And Cafu can't keep the ball in play. Bramall has knocked it straight out of play, and it's a goal kick to Sheffield Wednesday, who lead by a goal to nil. West Ham 0, Everton 0 in the Premier League. The 2 o'clock kickoffs: Aston Villa against Luton, Brighton against Fulham, Liverpool against Nottingham Forest, and of course the Manchester derby at 3:30. We'll keep you up to date with that on the Sunday session on Talksport here on 2. Gallagher Premiership Rugby from 3. Back-to-back NFL commentaries from 5, and tomorrow we'll bring you Coventry against West Brom in the Championship. The best way to react to all of the weekend sport is from tomorrow morning at 6 on Talksport Breakfast with Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend. Jeff Stelling's joining our team in December. And on tomorrow's breakfast show, England prop Joe Marler and Carl Froch, after all of the boxing drama that we've seen this weekend. Sheffield Wednesday in possession. Bernard through the legs of his man, got very lucky there. James pokes it forward towards the halfway line and Rotherham have won it back. Here is Lembikisa, midway inside the Sheffield Wednesday half. Little interchange between him and Appiah. Lembikisa goes down on the corner of the penalty area. Nothing given by the referee, Andy Davis. And now here come Wednesday on the counter with Masaba, bursting forward over the halfway line. It'll run through past a flurry of red and white shirts to Smith. Smith back to halfway and James. Now we've got the tempo of a derby game. Early ball from Cafu towards Hugill through the middle, intercepted by a retreating Byers. And here comes Sheffield Wednesday on the counter. Patterson high up the middle towards Masaba. That touch was off Morrison. It wasn't a back pass to the goalkeeper. It was an interception. And Johansson, the Rotherham goalkeeper, has the ball. 15 and a half minutes gone. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Rotherham 0, and now it feels like a derby, Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
It certainly does. Masaba, for me, he's the one causing all the problems down this left-hand side. Nobody can get near him at the moment. He's aggressive on the ball, both trying to win it back and running with it. But for me, it's just a lack of quality for Rotherham.
Oh, Rathbone almost kept the ball in play down by the dead ball line. He shrugged aside Bambo Diaby and he needed the help of Deshaun Bernard to get the ball clear for Sheffield Wednesday. Long up the left-hand touchline goes Bannon, and Smith, the perfect hold-up man, well over 6'2", is there to bring it down. He's scored the goal that has Sheffield Wednesday in front, and it's a reverse ball up the left-hand edge of the penalty area that has too much on it for Windass. He almost ends up going over the advertising hoardings at the west end of the stadium, and out to play it goes for a goal kick in front of those Rotherham fans.
Yeah, I like the idea from Windass, though, in terms of that late run arriving in the box, and in an ideal world, I think that Michael Smith run down the left, you want that to be Masaba, you want Smith to be getting himself in the box, but that was just the way it happened. It initially does quite well to actually get to the ball and recycle it again, but it was just a stray pass in the end to Windass.
We've got Women's Nations League football for you on Talksport 2 on Tuesday, Carabao Cup on Wednesday night across the network, and a huge game, Leicester against Leeds in the Championship on Friday. Leicester running away with it at the top, Leeds in third. That's live and exclusive to National Radio Friday night on Talksport 2 before game day returns next Saturday. More live football than anybody else across the network. Throw to Rotherham on the near side of the field. Lembikisa will take it. He's midway inside Sheffield Wednesday territory. Just wipes the ball down with his red and white shirt. Sheffield Wednesday looking relatively well organised after the first 17 and a half minutes or so. And they lead by a goal to nil. Header away by Byers. Drops down to Smith. He held it up beautifully. Knocks it wide to the right. And Patterson, who missed the midweek defeat at Plymouth but is back in the side today. That Plymouth game, the only match that he's missed so far this season, the Scots. And Iorfa slows the game down to walking pace effectively here for Sheffield Wednesday. It's touched back out wide to Patterson by Windass, who's dropping deep every now and then. Held up well by Masaba, tall and leggy on halfway. Knocks it to the right-hand side, and Windass again. Good football from Sheffield Wednesday, leading 1-0. Windass with a great cross all the way to the far post, and James, he'll keep it in play by the dead ball line. Pulls it back to Smith, couldn't control it. Hammered away downfield by Peltier, up over the halfway line. Rotherham fans appealing for a foul on Hugill by Diaby. The referee says play on. Sheffield Wednesday have it back, and Rotherham look really pedestrian defensively there.
Yeah, they do, and it's a shame there. That ball in from James is just a bit too much on it, and that's where you've just got to have a cool head. The initial ball in is really good, and James anticipates it as well.
Smith back to goal, ricocheted against the hand, it looked like, of Morrison. He was so close to the ball that the referee, I think, elected not to give a free kick on the edge of the penalty area for that reason. But a stirring atmosphere here at Hillsborough so far. Sheffield Wednesday, who started the day 11 points from safety, and Rotherham third from bottom in the division, and they're behind. Bannon left wing position, the Sheffield Wednesday number 10. He can cut it back to the edge of the box. He's got Windass calling for it. Bannon is standing still inside the penalty area, and eventually, I think partly thanks to his indecision, Lembikissa was able to get back and make a tackle. Only as far as James, though, for Sheffield Wednesday. Now Bannon level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Rotherham with plenty back behind the ball, but quite static and ponderous defensively again. Sheffield Wednesday have it on the near side, with Bannon now hugging the touchline at the base of this huge and looming two-tiered south stand. Back to halfway it goes, and Byers now to the feet of Diaby inside his own half. Well, Sheffield Wednesday will need to produce something special if they're to secure the great escape this season. Already talking about the great escape in October, Courtney, but as we saw in the League One playoff semi-final last year, they are no strangers to incredible comebacks.
Yeah, exactly. That big goal, wasn't it, from Windass, the man chasing the ball there. But unfortunately, that's how poor their start has been, that we are talking about the great escape already. But I've seen some positive signs already in this first 20 minutes, Joe.
Dawson, the goalkeeper, with an awkward back pass to deal with from Diaby, bouncing up at the Sheffield Wednesday number 1, and he had to hack it clear on his weaker left side. Didn't have much to work with there. The Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper Cameron Dawson, who's now started all 3 matches under Danny Röhl. Devis Vazquez has been relegated to the bench. He was very much a Zisco Munoz signing. And Rotherham have got a throw down by the corner flag on the near side there right. Can they threaten for the first time in the game? Lembikissa takes it square and infield to Cafu, the number 7. But gets it back from Lembikissa. Cafu wearing gloves. Infield to the edge of the penalty area in Rathbone. Back it goes to Morrison. Morrison will flick it on, and a touch from Rathbone high up into the air. Sheffield Wednesday struggled to deal with it initially. Eventually Byers hacks the ball over his shoulder and away from danger. There is a bit of probably understandable nervousness about Sheffield Wednesday defensively at times. Great header crossfield by Rathbone, cushioned into the path of Onyedinma with his back to goal. Onyedinma dallied on the ball though, and eventually fouls Callum Patterson, and that's a free kick for Sheffield Wednesday, who lead by a 1-0. Live on Talksport 2, 21 gone.
Yeah, and I think Wednesday there are lucky that didn't come to Moritz Ayor, for when he comes out, if you're leaving that space, you've got to go and win the ball. He doesn't. He leaves a massive gap then between himself and his centre-half partner. I think it was Diaby, and it's lucky that wasn't done more with by Rotherham.
Long, high, raking ball by Dawson upfield into the middle of the Rotherham half. The sun dips behind the clouds momentarily here. It's no longer covering that far side of the field. And Rotherham have got a throw, which Cohen Bramall, formerly of Arsenal, where he was a youngster, will take it. Long up towards the halfway line, looking for the obvious target, Jordan Hugill. Hugill can't control, though. Hooked away by Patterson downfield. Chasing after it, hopefully more than anything else, is Josh Windass, and cleared into touch by Bramall. That was careless of Rotherham to concede possession in that area. Their boss, Matt Taylor, says they certainly won't underplay the occasion today, but it's Sheffield Wednesday who've risen to the occasion so far, and the home team lead by a 1-0 with their first goal since the 19th of September. That long drought of over 600 minutes has finally come to an end. Patterson looking for options from the throw, with the grey and orange boots on, long up towards Smith inside the penalty area, 6'3". Smith heads it down back towards Bannon, and it's retrieved by Windass. Now Patterson again in the right wing position. The sun comes back out again. Windass low ball in. Smith is there. Couldn't get the touch in on goal. Fantastic cross from Windass. Only needed a poke home from Smith. Shrugged aside, I think, in part by Morrison, which maybe put him off. Smith couldn't get the touch. Neither could James at the back post. It stays out. It stays just 1-0 to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh with this one, but I think James, he needs to... Michael Smith, he needs to go with his back foot, so his left foot, the way that he goes for that with his right foot, with his nearer foot, I think you're giving the defender a chance to push you, whereas he goes with his back foot, it's more aggressive.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me today, formerly of Sheffield United Women. And I drove past Bramall Lane on my way to the game. Oh, and the goalkeeper Dawson has slipped. Onyedinma in down the right for Rotherham, but across came Iorfa with a thunderous challenge to knock the ball out of play for a Rotherham throw. Just for a second there was a hopeful ball up the right-hand side. Onyedinma after it, and Dawson was way out of his goal. He lost his footing, and I just thought, is Onyedinma going to try an effort from range, but didn't have the time to.
No, it was fantastic defending, wasn't it, from Iorfa, come over from the opposite side of the pitch, but it was a wonderful tackle.
Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 0 in the Scottish Premiership into the second half there. Yes, it wouldn't have quite have been Harry Kane levels of lobbing the goalkeeper had Onyedinma gone for it. And that's got to be one of the goals of the season across Europe so far, Courtney.
Yeah, well inside his own half, wasn't it? It wasn't even Wimbledon, David Beckham, who was bang on the halfway line. It was a good 5 yards inside, wasn't it?
Rotherham have the ball deep inside the Sheffield Wednesday half. Lembikisa first time right-footed cross. The flick from Thiehi, high to the far post, headed away by Iorfa again for Sheffield Wednesday. Well held up by Smith, who's been an outlet and a goal scorer for Sheffield Wednesday so far today. Windass plucks the ball out of the air beautifully just over the halfway line. Back it goes to Byers. You can see the confidence now coming back for some of these Sheffield Wednesday players. This was a team that got 96 points in League One last season. They earned promotion. They haven't won a game in the league this year, but they're 1-0 up against Rotherham. Bannon's first time cross to the far post. Goalkeeper's dropped it, and it's come down to the edge of the penalty area and thumped over the top by Byers. Terrible miscommunication inside the Rotherham penalty area. Nobody reached the second ball. Byers had a free shot. He should have done much better than that.
Yeah, he should. It is a difficult one because there's bodies in front of him, but initially Johansson, I'm not sure what he's doing. If he's coming for that, he's either got to collect it or he's got to punch it and make sure he gets rid of it. He gets caught in two minds, does neither. The way it drops to Byers, I think he's got to dink that over the keeper, whereas he's trying to put his foot through it.
Now this is very interesting, Courtney. 25 minutes played, and Rotherham United are going to make a substitution here. And it's Arvin Appiah going off. He doesn't look injured to me, and he's trudging off here with a face like thunder.
Yeah, you can tell that's not an injury. That's a tactical substitution, and he is not happy.
Doesn't even look at his manager, Matt Taylor. Doesn't actually get acknowledgement from Taylor either. But Appiah is hooked off after 25 minutes. And Sebastian Revan, who is on loan from Aston Villa, is Appiah's replacement. And as a manager, is that not a huge gamble to take? Not just in terms of the game, obviously, itself, but the feeling that Appiah is going to have and possibly the feeling that the players are going to have if this doesn't work. I think they've switched to a defensive five here, Rotherham, with Lembikisa on the right-hand side and maybe Revan going to a left wing-back position anyway. We'll see. But that's a big call.
It is. It's massive, and I'm lucky never to have that situation as a player, but I think it's one of those where it's the ultimate, what players feel, the ultimate insult to be dragged off that early in the game. Now, Appiah, I don't think he's featured much, but a lot of that front three for Rotherham haven't. It's just been, poor really going forward for them. They've been starved of service. The only thing that I can think of is there's something that Matt Taylor, the manager, has asked him to do that in the first 27 minutes of this game he's not done for him and feels that it's only right to bring him off. Or is he the player where, Matt Taylor thinks that this needs to change, and unfortunately he's just the one that's, been sacrificed.
Well, you did mention, Courtney, he's not played a great deal, Arvin Appiah. This is just his second league start for Rotherham United, though he did start the game, the victory over Coventry midweek. Rotherham have got a player down, deep inside Sheffield Wednesday territory. It's Hugo who's gone to ground, and now kneeling and slowly getting up to his feet. And Sebastian Revan is the man who's come on. It's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Rotherham United 0, live on Talksport 2, on your home of the EFL. And England have lost 2 wickets in 2 balls, chasing 230 against India, including Joe Root for a golden duck. 30 for 2 at the moment, England. And John Norman will have updates on the Sunday session for you of the cricket. The Sunday session with Sam Matterface is at Old Trafford today, ahead of the Manchester derby to come, as we welcome listeners from Talksport. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Rotherham United 0 is the latest score. Michael Smith has got the opener against his former club at a raucous Hillsborough. Great noise here and a huge crowd. Sheffield Wednesday today hunting what would be their first league win of the season. They've had a dreadful start to the campaign. They've got a new man in charge in Danny Röhl, the German, the youngest manager in the EFL. He lost his first 2 games, but they're in front here against a Rotherham side who struggled desperately away from home in the last year. Rotherham have already made a tactical change. 27 minutes into the match, taking off Arvin Appiah and bringing on Sebastian Revan. But so far in the Hillsborough sunshine, Rotherham very much second best. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, I think literally the first minute, Onyedinma goes down the left, and I thought, right, are Rotherham really giving this a go? But after this, it's been all Sheffield Wednesday. They've been brilliant. Michael Smith has been making himself known for the goal in the right place at the right time. And again, he's just been always on the back shoulder of defenders. I think Dean Windass as well has been absolutely Sorry, Josh, I'm speaking about his dad there. Josh Windass has been absolutely fantastic in putting some great balls in behind the defensive line and causing issues. And they just need, whether it be Smith or James at the back stick, just to bust that gut, just dive in that extra half a yard, and they could be 2 up.
It would be quite something if Dean Windass were on the field today. But Josh and Sheffield Wednesday are doing just fine. Remember, Talksport 2 is your home of the EFL. Got more than 120 commentaries across the course of the campaign, exclusive to national radio. Make sure you download the Talksport app and you can swipe between both stations at your leisure. Rotherham on the attack, deep ball into the penalty area. Sheffield Wednesday will clear through Reece James. We've had just under half an hour. Sheffield Wednesday potentially here, heading for a first league victory of the championship season. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Rotherham United 0. Onyedinma looking to dart in behind down the near side the right. He's got the ball with his back to goal down by the dead ball line. Back it goes to Lembikissa. Lembikissa further back to Tiehi, about 5 yards from the corner of the penalty area. On to Onyedinma again. He's looked the liveliest for Rotherham in the attack. Onyedinma trying to wriggle away from Bambo Diaby. That was nearly a careless pass, a clumsy pass out of defence from Diaby, who gets a second chance at it. This time he goes the direct route high up towards Smith. Morrison's there to win the header. Smith is there to win the second. Ball up against Tiehi. Intelligent pass up the left-hand touchline. And here's Masaba. Flag has stayed down. Masaba in the penalty area. Low shot gathered by the goalkeeper. The flag stayed down and remained down from the assistant on the far side. And had Sheffield Wednesday gone on to make it 2-0 there, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, I think Rotherham would have had a lot to say about it. Yeah,
I think it's the wrong decision, Joe. I think Masaba's been fantastic, by the way, down this left-hand side at the start of this first half. But last time I said, in terms of getting that ball in the box, it was his only opportunity. He shot and it came out to Smith, but that time he's got Patterson, and I think he needs to square that ball. If he takes the extra touch to the byline and then cuts it back, he can find a teammate, and to shoot there, I do think it was the wrong decision.
And Rotherham have the ball with Tiehi on the halfway line, out to the near side, and Peltier just in front of the near side touchline, and Danny Earl, the Sheffield Wednesday manager, is kicking every ball inside his technical area. He's got some experienced heads alongside him in terms of the coaching staff. Chris Powell and Henrik Pedersen. And Sasha Lenser is the performance manager. Good turn on the far side, the left by Revan 4. Rotherham burst into the box, sandwiched in between 2 blue and white shirts, goes down, and no penalty given by the referee. Not a great deal of appeals from Rotherham United players other than Revan.
No, and I think that says a lot. It's he does well initially, picks it up, and he's trying to get himself into the box. But I just think there wasn't a lot of contact there. Certainly not enough for a penalty, in my opinion.
Matt Taylor head in hands. Rotherham looking for back-to-back wins today for the first time in a year. And if they don't win today, it will be a year without a win on the road. Matt Taylor's got his arms folded inside the technical area. Well over half an hour gone now. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Rotherham United 0. Sheffield Wednesday have broken that scoring duck. But Danny Earl would love the cushion of a second goal. Throw in taken by Windass on the far side of the field. Gets the ball back from Byers. He's on the Sheffield Wednesday right is Windass, taking on Revan. Smith is in the middle, so too James lurking at the far post. Infield it goes from Bannon to Patterson on the corner of the penalty area. Rotherham on the defensive, great cross into the box. Goalkeeper flapped at it, and Lembikissa tucks it behind. It was a deep ball into the penalty area by Windass. Johansson looking up into the sun, wasn't quite sure. Corner to Sheffield Wednesday in front of the Rotherham fans. 1-0 Wednesday lead. The corner's taken short to Bannon. Left on edge of the box, crosses, headed away. And Patterson wasn't quick enough to react at the back post. Loose ball has dropped down to Iorfa. Plays it back to Byers, midway inside the Rotherham half. Chips it into the penalty area. Diaby was there, couldn't control it on his chest though. Diaby too slow to react in that situation. And Sheffield Wednesday, once, twice, 3 times, tested Rotherham's mettle with high balls into the penalty area. You have to say, on every single one of those occasions, Rotherham looked like they might be wanting defensively.
Yeah, no, I don't know, you mentioned it, whether it is the sun, but Johansson, that's the second time now he's flapped at something. So if it's me and I'm in that position, and especially with Michael Smith knowing the aerial threat that he has, get that ball in the box, because Johansson does not look comfortable at coming to collect things.
Interesting, because generally Johansson has been outstanding since joining Rotherham United. He was the players' player and the player of the season last year at the club. Rotherham, who survived relegation, ended that yo-yo status. They finished 19th. And despite losing Paul Warne in the autumn, he was replaced by Matt Taylor. In their first season of survival at championship level since 2015-2016. But they are in another relegation scrap again this year, and they're behind at Sheffield Wednesday, who are looking to close the gap between the two clubs as it stands. It would be just 3 points if Sheffield Wednesday were to win, but a long way to go. 11 minutes of the second half remaining. Still West Ham 0, Everton 0 in the Premier League. Good football from Sheffield Wednesday as they shuffle it wide to Bannon, who threads the ball up the left-hand channel. Here is Masaba attacking the edge of the penalty area. Plenty forward, Masaba into the box, lays it square, Windass! Over the top! What a huge opportunity! Sheffield Wednesday did everything right, and there was Windass running onto it. A free shot from 10 yards out, over the top. That's got the Hillsborough crowd going again, but they should have been celebrating a 2-0 lead.
They should have been, and I'm just watching Barry Bannon conducting this crowd because he knows they're going to play an important part today. Masaba, yet again. This time, I criticised him last time saying he made the wrong decision. This time he makes the right decision. He waits and he waits. He can probably see the run and probably hear Windass as well, who makes a fantastic run from deep. But then when he gets in that area, he was the hero at the playoff final. Just expected him to slot it in the net. But again, it flies over, and for Sheffield Wednesday, these are the chances they really need to convert.
Yes, Josh Windass with a Keith Houchin-esque diving header in the playoff final win over Barnsley. And you can just see in a situation like this, if you don't take your chances, we've seen it so often, especially when you're down at the bottom, it can come back to haunt you. Sheffield Wednesday have been excellent for the first 35 and a half minutes. They're 1-0 up, but it should be more than that. Can Rotherham take advantage and get themselves back in the game? Poor ball by Lembakissa back over the halfway line, and Bramall has to get across in front of Windass to keep it in play.
And what I will say, Joe, is I don't know whether this change in formation has actually helped Rotherham. If anything, is making sure that Masaba's getting down that left-hand side more frequently.
And he's through the middle here, Masaba into the penalty area, blocks off, Masaba square, Smith! It's 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday! Michael Smith is the star against his former side, and Sheffield Wednesday have struck twice in the first half, and the Danny Röhl era is well and truly kicking off at Hillsborough now. Rotherham are a mess on the road again. It's Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham United 0. Sheffield Wednesday edging closer and closer towards that first league win.
Well, they're all at 6s and 7s here, Rotherham, and unfortunately, I think Matt Taylor, this change in formation, I think is to blame. This time it's Masaba. He finds himself centrally. He comes right across, does extremely well. He slips, I think, in the box, but he manages to get himself up. He lays it off for a teammate. He gets up really well and just squares this ball. And who else is there but Michael Smith? And I was watching Barry Bannon again because he's absolutely loving it. He's giving those Rotherham fans behind that goal a load of stick. He's loving it in this place, Hillsborough. It's absolutely bouncing, isn't it?
Well, this is what you get when the ground, as you say, is as positive as it is now. Sheffield Wednesday with a great history as a football club, of course, and always a remarkable supporter base. And it's shaking with noise at times as Peltier goes in hard on Masaba. That was a frustrated challenge, and Peltier and Windass are going to go head-to-head here, and the referee's got a flashpoint to deal with. Players from both sides are getting involved. Rathbone is trying to drag Peltier away from Windass, and there are words exchanged between the two. And it's very spicy now on South Yorkshire Derby Day. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham 0, live on Talksport 2. 7 minutes plus stoppage time remaining in the first half, and that's going to be a talking to and a yellow card for both Peltier and Windass. And as soon as it started, it seems to have calmed down again.
Yeah, and it's Masaba yet again in the thick of it. He's been absolutely fantastic, hasn't he? And I think this is what Sheffield Wednesday needed in terms of, the goals, the fans. There's a bit of a flashpoint, so everyone's getting behind it. It's probably the perfect remedy, actually, for what Sheffield Wednesday need so far to really push on now.
Danny Röhl's name is being sung around the stadium, 34 years of age, and the youngest manager in the EFL, maybe with the hardest task in terms of trying to keep Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. Well, are they heading for their first win of the season? They've outplayed Rotherham. Rotherham have been awful, you have to say. They haven't forced Dawson into a save, and defensively, the 2 goals have been really poor.
Yeah, they haven't, and unfortunately as well, the change in formation, if anything, that's hindered them. And yeah, it's been really a poor showing from them all round. Iorfa
striding forward, he's on the edge of the penalty area, might have a go, knocks it wide instead to Patterson. Patterson hangs up the cross, Masaba heads it down onto the roof of the net. It should have been 3 for Sheffield Wednesday. They are all over Rotherham United. Boos from the away end. Masaba, point blank range, headed it down. It spat up off the turf and looped over the top.
I think he closed his eyes, Joe. I thought it was in. I don't know what happened. It's great work. The wing play from Sheffield Wednesday has been fantastic. The ball in, it's on a sixpence, and Masaba's performance so far deserves a goal. And I thought he was done everything right. He's headed the ball down, but at the last minute, I just think I think he might have even closed his eyes, but he gets himself in the right position, which is the most important thing. But that's got to go in the back of the net.
Courtney Strootman-Kirk, former striker herself, knows a thing or two about scoring goals. Sheffield Wednesday could have scored 4 in this first half. They've scored 2 with 5 minutes of the first half to go against a really poor Rotherham team so far. But here's Cafu for the team in red and white. Chips the ball over the top. Rathbone chasing after it. Too much on it from Cafu. Gathered by Dawson, who hasn't had a save to make just yet. And they look a bit lost here, Rotherham.
Yeah, and in going back to those Sheffield Wednesday chances, don't want to be too negative, because I think, this 40 minutes is everything that these fans inside the stadium wanted to see. But obviously going forward, as the confidence comes back and you're playing against better opposition, those chances they're creating have got to go in the back of the net.
Long ball over the top towards Smith again, and every time there's a simple long ball forward, Rotherham look like they are struggling. This time it was Morrison chasing with Smith, who I thought was probably the favourite to get there, had it not been slightly overhit from the right wing from Patterson, who's just committed a foul on Revan, and a free kick to Rotherham just inside their own half of the field, just shy of the halfway line. And I think it's going to be left for Johansson, the goalkeeper, here to take it. Well, as a manager, you make a big call 25 minutes in to make a change and a tactical switch in a derby game, and it hasn't paid off for Matt Taylor.
No, it hasn't. And look, managers have got a difficult job, but I think it was that time in the game, it was such a massive call to make. And actually, Masaba has probably been the best player on the pitch for me. So doing that, you knew it was always going to cause issues. So not sure what the thought process was behind that. And yeah, maybe it's to get back into the game, to get the wing backs higher. But I just think it was a poor decision at a really crucial time for Taylor.
Iorfa on the burst. He's driving forward for Sheffield Wednesday on the far side, the right, with great athleticism and good ball control, and he's won a free kick 20 yards or so into Rotherham territory, with Onyedinma, the man, tracking back, and it's just in that slither of sunshine on the far side, and he gets a pat on the head from his captain, Barry Bannon. And I'm sure Barry Bannon, as you mentioned him, Courtney, such a key figure, he'll be keeping a calm, cool head at the moment. He will know that there's a long way to go in the game.
Yeah, he will, and he's done it all, really, hasn't he, in terms of his experience. But don't take that away from him. He's enjoying it as well. Yes, he is the cool, calm and collected one, but he's certainly enjoying remonstrating with the Rotherham fans and geeing up the Wednesday home fans.
Rotherham, Bannon and Windass standing over the free kick. Bannon rolls the ball up the right-hand touchline, the far side to Josh Windass, who hooks in a high cross to the far post. Climbing was Bernard, who was forward for the free kick, and Bernard all over the top of Jordan Hugill. And it's a free kick to Rotherham away to our left inside their penalty area. Lots of live football next week on the Talksport network, from the Championship on Talksport 2 and the Women's Nations League, the Carabao Cup as well. And make sure you join Talksport Breakfast early every morning. And White and Jordan from 10 till 1. And Martin Keown is with them on Monday. The Outspoken podcast live for you after every show every weekday. Had some great guests on both morning shows this week. Thomas Frank, Paul Barber, Emmanuel Adebayor, among others. Joe Marler and Carl Froch are going to be on breakfast from 6 on Monday. That's on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2, 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham in the South Yorkshire derby. Rotherham throw taken by Peltier into the penalty area. Thierry can't smuggle it away from Bernard. And Windass has got it deep inside his own half. Was he fouled by Thierry? No, says the referee. Thierry back to Peltier, down by the corner flag. Peltier trying to swing it across. He's blocked off by two in blue and white. Now Cafu, dispossessed by a retreating Musaba. This is where concentration levels are so important for Sheffield Wednesday here.
Yeah, and especially at this moment just before half-time, they're well in control of this game, but they don't want to lose concentration and concede a sloppy goal.
Peltier will take the long throw, high up towards Onyedinma, Dinma, headed away by Diaby. It's come back to Peltier again, taps it back to Lembakissa, steers it forward now to Cafu with the gloves on. Now Peltier once more. Rotherham just looking for a route back into the game, but it doesn't look likely at the moment, as long as Sheffield Wednesday don't make defensive mistakes. Amazing fleet of foot by Musaba to dribble it through the legs of Peltier on halfway, and now Smith has chipped it wide to the far side, the right, and Patterson brings it down neatly. Musaba's continued his run into the box. It's aimed towards Mustaba, and it's steered behind by Bramall, and Musaba is enjoying himself in particular, having a fantastic game. Sheffield Wednesday corner.
Yeah, he is, and it's a joy to watch. You can see he's full of confidence at the moment, and you know, just from a player perspective, I want him to get the goal that his performance deserves so far.
Iorfa and Bernard are forward from the back for Sheffield Wednesday here. Patterson, Musaba, and Smith is lurking in front of the goalkeeper as well. Barry Bannon's in swinging left-footed delivery. Smith with a looping header, and it's over the top, and it lands in the front row of that two-tiered stand behind the goal that houses at the moment some very unhappy-looking Rotherham United supporters. 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Sheffield Wednesday lead 2-0.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. They'll be so unhappy with what they see. I think fans normally are very fair in the fact if they see their team trying, then they'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not saying there's been necessarily a massive lack of effort from the Rotherham side, but it's certainly been poor in terms of the decision making and the quality on the ball.
Bannon has the ball for Sheffield Wednesday, always very calm and composed in possession is Bannon, and then Patterson with a less composed back pass, scooped to the feet of the goalkeeper. He's had to come out to the edge of his penalty area to hack it clear. He slips, does Dawson. I think the one concern for Danny Röhl is that Sheffield Wednesday do look a little bit jittery at times across that back line. There are one or two players that you look at and you think they are capable of mistakes. Yeah,
and look, I think again that goes back to the season, the start of the season that they've had, but I think they keep playing like this more and more, that confidence will get better and better for those at the back, and those mistakes will, get less and less.
Over a minute through the three added in the game so far. West Ham 0, Everton 0, the latest score in the Premier League. They're underway at Villa Park, at the Amex and at Anfield in about 10 minutes. Updates on the Sunday session on Talksport. We've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby from 3 on Talksport 2, and then back-to-back commentaries from the NFL. Ball is scooped forward by Bramall on his weaker right foot for Rotherham United. An awkward high ball into the sun. Cleared away by Diaby. Ball is deep inside Rotherham territory now. Morrison sends it back to his goalkeeper. Johansson clatters it high and long. Good towering header away by Diaby. That's where he is effective in the air. The former Preston, North End and Barnsley man. Sheffield Wednesday concede possession. That's a foul by Bernard coming across on Rathbone right in front of the Rotherham manager Matt Taylor, who I think is maybe asking for a yellow card. Is Bernard going to get away with the talking to? No, he's not. Belatedly, the card does come out. That's a free kick to Rotherham and midway inside the Sheffield Wednesday territory.
I think that's slightly harsh. I think, look, there's no doubt it's a foul, but you can see he rushes in to try and get touch tight to Rathbone, and then at the last minute he knows he's not going to get there, so he tries to put the anchors on. I think the inertia is already going, so he can't stop, but he tries to pull out, so I think that's quite a harsh one.
He looked like he couldn't quite decide, didn't he, the referee? He was sizing up the situation. Yellow card, free kick Rotherham. Last few seconds of the first half. Can they get themselves what could be a crucial goal? Danny Röhl was crouching down on his haunches a moment ago. Cafu's delivery up towards Onyedinma back post. Morrison with his back to goal tries to hook it towards the target. Deflected behind off Smith, and Rotherham have a corner away to our right in front of the Kop end, and there's just about enough time to take it. Goalless at London Stadium at half-time in the Premier League. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday here, but they still have a few seconds to see out, and boos and whistles from the home supporters. We've had the 3 minutes of added time, a little more than that, but remember 3 minutes is only a minimum. Corner's going to be whipped in from Cafu in towards the near post, punched away by Dawson, comes out to Thierry, nods it down, and the flick goalwards by Bramall could come down towards Peltier, scramble in the 6-yard box, hooked over the top by Morrison. That's half-time. Big cheers from the home fans at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday edging towards that long-awaited first league win of the season. High fives from goalkeeper and defender inside the penalty area. There's actually a Rotherham man who's gone down. I can't quite see who it is in the box, but he might need to receive some treatment. But a first-class first half for Sheffield Wednesday. It's Morrison who went down, and he's been helped up. 2 goals for Michael Smith against his former club. It should have been more. Rotherham tried to rectify things midway through the first half. Maybe the substitution only made it worse. A long way back for them. Rotherham without a shot on goal of any kind. Sheffield Wednesday dominant, 2-0 up. What did you make of it, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk?
I was mightily impressed with Sheffield Wednesday. As I mentioned, I was here not so long back at the game against Sunderland, and it couldn't be more different. It's night and day. The aggressiveness, there's a dynamism, there's a confidence, and creating lots of opportunities as well. They look a lot more stable at the back. They're adaptive in terms of their formation as well. Sometimes they're a 4, sometimes they change to a 3 and turn into wing backs. So look, it's been fantastic to watch. The only criticism is, they've created good chances. Maybe should be more than 2, but that will come with confidence. And on the other side of it, Rotherham have been extremely poor, Joe.
Well, lots more to come here on EFL Live on Talksport 2. The rugby later on, the NFL commentaries. Remember, Talksport in the Sunday session. All the goals as they go in the Premier League. West Ham 0, Everton 0 is a half-time score. And second half commentary to come from Hillsborough very shortly. At the break on Talksport 2, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham United 0.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL.
Good afternoon and welcome to the news. Today's top stories. People with no apparent skills are still being put on television and paid more money than you. Despite fitness brands' claim their products will not, in fact, melt fat, as that's a physical impossibility. Billionaires continue to measure their rockets against one another.
That's better. That's Tetley.
At Wix, get Dulux standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion. Was £21, now £15. Be house proud with Wix. Ends Wednesday. Terms apply.
This is the sound of a grade 8 harpist who also has time to run their own bakery. Thanks to Intuit QuickBooks automated invoice reminders, she never has to chase payments, so suppliers can never pull on her strings. Get peace of mind. Get QuickBooks. Not available on self-employed.
Here's football legend Jamie Redknapp for new hands-free Skechers slip-ins footwear.
Imagine playing football against no defence or goalkeeper. How easy would that be? That's what it's like putting on my new hands-free Skechers slip-ins. There's nothing stopping my foot from just going in. I just step in and I'm done, with no bending down to touch my shoes. So how do Skechers slip-ins work? It's like they have an invisible built-in shoehorn, so my foot slides into place. Then the heel pillow technology keeps my foot comfy and secure.
Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store or skechers.co.uk.
Girls! Sean!
Willow!
It's bedtime!
1 more race! I'm almost done!
Okay, kiddos. That's enough. Time's up.
Onto the app.
Your Wi-Fi is going off.
Going off.
EE Wi-Fi Controls lets you pause the Wi-Fi on your kids' devices, helping them to switch off and drift off. Search EE Home.
Eligibility criteria apply. New EE broadband customers.
At Holiday Inn Express, the best meal of the day is always included as part of your stay. Rise and shine with a muffin and croissants galore. With a buffet this good, you'll come back for more. Try Excellent Eggs. There's fresh coffee too, or a hot English brekkie. You do you. Holiday Inn Express. Comfy bed, banging breakfast, always included. Travel like you mean it with IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 6,000 global destinations, and IHG One Rewards loyalty program.
It's the speed, it's the competition, it's all or nothing. Team sport indoor karting with adrenaline-fueled action on every straight, ramp and corner. It's where you, your mates and colleagues can be champions for the day. It's the ultimate karting experience. With 35 tracks nationwide, there's a Team Sport track near you. Book online and save 10% with the code GET10 at team-sport.co.uk.
You'll only remember that sound if you're from the 90s, a time when the World Wide Web was still taking off. Dial-up was the thing, and McDonald's started cracking only free-range eggs, fresh every day, to use in all our McMuffins. It's just one of the little changes McDonald's have been constantly making to the way we source our food over the years. McDonald's. Change a little, change a lot.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the EFL.
You are listening to EFL Live on Talksport 2, second half commentary from Hillsborough to come with myself, Joe Shannon, and the former Sheffield United women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. First though, more discussion from the EFL for you. Southampton's 3-1 victory over Birmingham yesterday condemned Wayne Rooney to a third straight defeat since taking charge at Blues. He replaced John Eustace at Birmingham, despite the team sitting in 6th place over the international break. And remember, Eustace had won his last 2 games in charge. The Birmingham CEO, Gary Cook from Knighthead Capital, stressed the importance of fostering a winning mentality and a culture of ambition. In an open letter to fans, Cook has now made it clear that a misalignment between Eustace and the club's hierarchy was behind the decision to part company. Well, Darragh McAntony, the Peterborough United owner, filled in for Simon Jordan on Friday morning, and he says that the Birmingham owners, Knighthead Capital, only have themselves to blame for the club's poor run of form.
If you take Rooney's name out of it and look at his managerial record, that alone wouldn't get him an interview in a League Two job. I don't quite get it. I've seen the job he's done in the States, the style of football, at the end at Derby. The fella at Derby, his number 2, who went on to Hull, is doing brilliant. You know,
Liam Senior.
Yeah, he was like big part of the coaching setup.
Yeah,
I don't quite understand what it. This is well, you know, is it American owners now? Birmingham and Tom Brady's involved.
There's a touch of Hollywood now about the place.
John Eustace, we played them in pre-season. We beat them in pre-season, but you could tell they were building something good. We spoke to Gary, the recruitment director, about what they were trying to do, and I thought Eustace was getting the tune out of them, and they started really well. A couple of our ex-players in there. And you're in the top 6. The Birmingham fans have had years of nonsense, and finally they've got a bit of stability now with a new owner. You're in the top 6, and you go and pull what actually happened a few years ago when they brought Zola in. I think they were in the playoffs under Gary Rowett at the time. They brought Zola in, and then what transpired after that was nonsense. So I can understand the boos. I think, look, I hope it works out for him. He's done nothing yet to prove to me why he should be paid what he's paid as a manager in the Football League. And it irks me because there's loads of great managers in League 1 and League 2 who would never get an opportunity of managing a Birmingham. But if their name was Rooney, they'd be top of the list. That drives me mad.
He can't help that, though.
No, I'm not saying he should, because he's made a fortune all his career, and him and his agent, good for business. And this isn't a personal attack on him. What I'm saying is that sometimes I look at football, and I've seen it before. You get these guys who get great jobs, Lampard, other people, and there are people in our industry, Martin, who had the minerals to go out and become managers, coaching, took their badges, worked their way up, won promotions. They don't get these.
It was a shame John Eustace.
Darragh McAntony there on Talksport earlier this week, filled in for Simon Jordan on Friday morning alongside Jim White on Talksport. Remember, every weekday morning 10 till 1, the Outspoken White and Jordan podcast online every weekday. Interesting listening to the Peterborough owner, Darragh McAntony, speaking about Birmingham's decision to sack John Eustace effectively, bring in Wayne Rooney. 3 straight defeats so far for Wayne Rooney. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Sheffield United women's striker, watches a lot of EFL, is alongside me. And Courtney, it was always going to take a long time, of course, for any new manager to come in and have an effect on a team, but how concerned, if at all, will the Birmingham hierarchy be about how it's gone so far for Wayne Rooney?
I don't think they'll be too concerned because of what they've done, really. They've obviously not seen anything wrong with their decision. It's a difficult one because I think John Eustace has seen the club through a very turbulent time, but I suppose we know that there's no room for sentiment in football at times anymore. So I don't think they'll be overly worried. There's obviously a plan as to why they've brought Wayne Rooney in, and everything, you know, around the club is changing. So I don't think they'll be too concerned as yet, but I understand why there's a lot of people slightly baffled and disappointed really by the decision, because, as I mentioned, John Eustace has done such a wonderful job for a turbulent time steering Birmingham City through that, so it is a shame for him.
Well, Wayne Rooney is now the man in charge, and of course part of this culture of ambition and a winning mentality is about a new style of play. How difficult is it for a group of players to have started the season well, have the manager that you know is tried and trusted go, and then somebody come in with a completely different set of ideas?
Yeah, I think it's difficult, as you say, especially when, you know, it seems to be working. I know that, you know, there was a period of quite a few games where, you know, Birmingham sort of went through a rocky patch, but, you know, started well, came back through that rocky patch. So I think it's always, you know, hard, especially because there's, you know, certain ways of playing. There'll be certain players that are now out of favour that were in favour under Eustace. So it's always quite difficult when a new manager comes in general, especially if it does mean a different style of play. But it's something that, as a footballer, that's life. You have to get used to, and you have to play your way into the manager's good books.
Is the name value of the manager important? We've seen Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, and now Wayne Rooney being given pretty high-profile jobs at big clubs.
Yeah, I think it is. We can't get away from it. Football is, you know, evolving. It's changing, and I think as much as there's a you know, looking at his managerial experience, there's a reason that is there because of his name as well. So yes, obviously the managers have to take the coaching badges and all that sort of stuff, but it's the way the world works. You give yourself, I suppose, a certain gravitas when you've had the playing career that Wayne Rooney has, but now he's a manager and he's got to obviously do it from the dugout and get the results on the pitch.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how Wayne Rooney gets on. Of course, lots of EFL football live across the course of the season on the Talksport network. We actually brought you John Eustace's final game in charge, a victory over West Bromwich Albion. West Brom in action on Monday night at Coventry. That's live on Talksport 2. Friday night, Leicester against Leeds. And here, this lunchtime, it's Sheffield Wednesday with a 2-0 advantage over Rotherham United in the South Yorkshire derby. Second half Coventry on the way next.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL.
I'm Julius Caesar, an emperor, not a tradesperson. But if I was, I'd be on Checkatrade. 8 out of 10 homeowners surveyed would choose a tradesperson from Checkatrade over one that isn't. And they guarantee jobs for a year. Book your job today at up to £1,000. T's and C's apply.
Here's football legend Jamie Redknapp for new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins footwear.
Imagine playing football against no defence or goalkeeper. How easy would that be? That's what it's like putting on my new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins. There's nothing stopping my foot from just going in. I just step in and I'm done, with no bending down to touch my shoes. So how do Skechers Slip-ins work? It's like they have an invisible built-in shoehorn, so my foot slides into place. Then the Heel Pillow technology keeps my foot comfy and secure.
Find Skechers Slip-ins at a Skechers store or Skechers.co.uk.
And they're coming down the final furlong now. And Long Drive Home is being chased down by I'm Tired. I wish I didn't have to drive home. It's losing ground. As Better Get a Travelodge is coming up fast. Long Drive Home is fading. As Better Get a Travelodge comes tearing up on the inside. And Better Get a Travelodge takes it.
Sporting event coming up. Better Get a Travelodge. Find king-size comfort up and down the country at travellodge.co.uk.
Inflation in the UK, 6.7%. Inflation in Germany, 4.5%. Inflation in France...
Oh, any good news?
0.
Huh?
0% commission when buying stocks at XTB.
Nice. But how about ETFs?
0% commission when buying stocks and ETFs at XTB. And you can start investing from just £10.
Now that is good news.
Download the XTB app and get started with commission-free investing. For monthly turnover equivalent up to €100,000. T&Cs apply. The financial instruments we offer are risky. Invest responsibly.
Join the nation in cinching it. Buy your perfect car online. And get first-class assistance from start to finish. Your new car, madam, with friendly customer service available 7 days a week.
Hello, this is Cinch. How can I help you?
An expert walkthrough of your new car when it's delivered. And a faff-free 14-day money-back guarantee. Hardly surprising Cinch is rated excellent on Trustpilot. So join the nation in absolutely cinching it. Search Cinch and buy your next car today. Returns subject to mileage restrictions, T's and C's apply.
Morrison's Morecard exclusives are your ticket to big savings this Halloween. Like any 2 for £6 spooky sweet tubs. That's more treats for your little terrors. Download the Morrison's More app today. More reasons to shop at Morrison's. Majority of stores subject to availability. 500 to 630 grams. Regular price £4. Ends 31st of October.
At Wickes, get Dulux standard 2.5 litre coloured emulsion. Was £21, now £15. Be house proud with Wickes. Ends Wednesday. Terms apply.
We're about to get back underway at Hillsborough, live on Talksport 2. Sheffield Wednesday lead Rotherham United by 2-0. It's myself, Joe Shannon, alongside the former Sheffield United striker, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Big improvements required from Rotherham. Struggling Rotherham in the second half. Sheffield Wednesday, bottom of the table, but heading for a first league win of the season at the 14th attempt. And this under their new, recently appointed manager, Danny Röhl. Maybe this is the start of Sheffield Wednesday making a remarkable turnaround. We're back, off and underway. Rotherham United playing from right to left in the second half in red and white. Sheffield Wednesday in blue and white, playing from left to right towards the Kop end, which is where a huge mass of home supporters are housed. Lots of fans making their way back to their seats very early in this second half. 3,000 plus very disappointed Rotherham fans behind the Leppings Lane end goal to our left-hand side. In the Premier League, they're underway at Villa Park, at the Amex, and at Anfield. West Ham 0, Everton 0, the latest in the 1 o'clock kick-off. England 42-4 against India at the Cricket World Cup, chasing 230. We've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby, don't forget, as soon as we're done here at Hillsborough. And that is followed by back-to-back commentaries from the EFL. On Talksport right now, the Sunday session is at Old Trafford, and they're building up to the Manchester derby, as well as bringing you all the goals as they go in. Rotherham have a throw on the far side very early in the second half. It's deep inside Sheffield Wednesday territory as they look to find a route back into the game. Long throw into the penalty area from Peltier, in towards Onyedinma, back into the box by Thierry, half cleared away by Sheffield Wednesday. Eventually Byers scoops it long up towards the halfway line, and 2-goal Michael Smith, who's been the hero against his former club so far, wins Sheffield Wednesday a free kick just shy of halfway. The referee's going to ask Sheffield Wednesday to take it again, and it's a yellow card for Christ Thierry for not backing away the full 10 yards. I'll give you the two sides in full in just a moment, but alongside me here at Hillsborough on your home of the EFL Talksport 2 is the former Sheffield United women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, and Wednesday, good value for their 2-0 lead, Courtney.
Yeah, and Smith straight back into it again in this second half. I like the way that he's not just got his 2 goals, his all-round play, his hold-up play has been excellent, and there you see Morrison's having to drag him down to even try and get anywhere near the ball.
Smith's downward header towards Patterson, right-hand edge of the penalty area, hooks in the cross and is gathered by Johansson, all in black, the Rotherham goalkeeper. Sheffield Wednesday then, with Dawson in goal, Iorfa, Diaby and Bernard the defenders, Patterson and James the wing-backs, Byers and Bannon in midfield, Windass and Musaba, who've both been excellent in support of the 2-goal man Michael Smith. And Rotherham, no changes at half-time, though they did make a substitution in the first half just 25 minutes in, hasn't really worked for them. Johansson is the goalkeeper, and then Lembekissa the right wing-back, Revan, who came on, the left wing-back, with Peltier, Morrison and Bramall the centre-halves, Thierry, Rathbone and Cafu in the middle, and Onyedinma and Hugill up front. I can see both head coaches at the foot of this main south stand. A steep drop from our commentary position at the very back. We are right on the halfway line. Matt Taylor has his arms folded, the Rotherham manager, and in his tracksuit, Danny Röhl, the youngest boss in the EFL, heading for his first victory in charge of Sheffield Wednesday. 3 minutes into the second half, Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham United 0. Head tennis on the halfway line on a sunny afternoon at Hillsborough, but a little chillier now. Hooked over his shoulder by Patterson down the middle. Chasing was Smith, but it's an easy back header from Morrison into the gloves of his goalkeeper, Johansson. And now Rotherham will look to build again. First meeting between these two since February of 2022. Of course, while Rotherham were surviving in the Championship last season, Sheffield Wednesday went on to earn promotion in dramatic fashion via the League One playoffs. Forward by Bannon, floated high crossfield from left to right. A decent ball, Smith chasing after it, a willing runner, herring towards it with Bramall at his back, and Bramall did just enough to force the error from Smith, and that's a throw to Rotherham United in their left-back position, playing from right to left towards the west stand. And the referees come across the near side. A quick word from the fourth official, it looks like here, who is Rebecca Welch. I'm not sure whether the referee had dropped something possibly, but something's been given back to the referee. Is it the vanishing spray, maybe?
Yeah, I think they've maybe swapped it over. He's not used it too much today, so I don't know why it's empty.
Not at all. Maybe that was the one from the last game or something.
Maybe.
Anyway, all is resolved pretty quickly. Barry Bannon's going to tie his laces in the middle of the field. Sheffield Wednesday will take a throw. What will have been the message from Danny Röhl, do you think, at half-time?
More of the same. I think obviously they'll want to be a little bit more clinical. Could have had 4 goals, and that's not an exaggeration, but keep it tight at the back. Don't get too carried away. They know that there's going to be a reaction, or at least there should be, from Rotherham in this second half. And I think initially it's the first 10 minutes just to keep it calm, cool and collected, and then you can build yourself again into the game. But there'll be a lot of praise and saying, look, more of the same, you've done really well, but it's only half done.
Lots of Sheffield Wednesday flags all around the ground on this lovely sunny autumn afternoon. Long ball, raking ball down the Rotherham right-hand side towards Onyedinma. Across came the much taller and stronger Bambo Diaby, who's then bundled over by Onyedinma, and that's a free kick to Sheffield Wednesday. There must be over 30,000 here at Hillsborough today. An excellent crowd and an excellent travelling support as well, and you have to feel for the Rotherham fans because their last away win was in the city of Sheffield. It was at Sheffield United in November of last season, so very nearly a year without an away win for the Millers. Long from Dawson, the Sheffield Wednesday number 1, high up into Rotherham territory, headed away by Sean Morrison. The loose ball retrieved by Rathbone, who'll roll it back to the goalkeeper Johansson. Johansson scoops it high and long himself up towards Hugill. Header away by Bernard, going over the top of Hugill. Then it's scooped downfield by Rathbone again. Onyedinma will chase. It's all rather agricultural in a footballing sense in this first 6 minutes of the second half. Sheffield Wednesday lead 2-0.
Yeah, and I think that's what's probably the expectation from Wednesday, that there's going to be a little bit of reaction from Rotherham. That's, they're going to be slightly more aggressive, try and get themselves on the ball, try and win it back more quickly, but it's about riding that storm for 10 minutes. Once you've done that, you can then start to play again.
Here come Sheffield Wednesday with Iorfa, surging forward down the near side, the right, galloping into Rotherham territory. Back he goes Iorfa, the tall centre half, to find Byers. Out to the right, and Patterson steers it forward to Windass. Tattoos down his arms. Back to Patterson, into Masaba. Good quick football from Sheffield Wednesday. Bannon floats it high. James far post, just couldn't leap enough to reach it. Applauds the intent from Bannon. Excellent football from Sheffield Wednesday. As Everton take the lead away at West Ham in the Premier League. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got that goal. West Ham 0, Everton 1. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham here. Sheffield Wednesday appear to have finally found some confidence, Courtney.
Yeah, and it's the right idea from Barry Bannon. I think James, he just needs to hold his run for a little bit longer, because he ends up getting caught under the ball. If he almost starts wider, holds the run and then comes onto the ball, he'd have been better off. But it's the right idea, and Barry Bannon, as we used to see, and starting to pull the strings again.
Rotherham yet to have a serious effort on goal, and Windass has gone for it from range, and he's hit it just wide. An inspired effort from Josh Windass after an error from Cohen Bremmel, 35-40 yards out. Goalkeeper was backpedaling. Windass went for it from a long way out. I'm sure, like all of us, he was watching that Harry Kane goal from yesterday. It wasn't quite centre circle, but it was a heck of a long way out. And I tell you what, had it been on target, I don't think Johansson would have got there.
No, it's certainly not a bad effort at all. He brings it down on his chest extremely well, the control, and it just sits up lovely. Has obviously seen Johansson outside of his goal, and as you mentioned, I think if that's on target, it goes in. But unfortunately for Windass, it was just wide of the post.
Wouldn't have quite been David Beckham, Wayne Rooney or Harry Kane-esque, but it would have been a stunning goal. As Onyedinma wins a free kick, wrestled to the ground by Diaby, midway inside the Sheffield Wednesday half, slightly right of centre. Ironic cheers from the away supporters, and Rotherham will be able to send the likes of Peltier and Morrison forward for this. And set pieces proved a fruitful route to goal for them in their home win over Coventry midweek. At home, Rotherham are a different kind of proposition altogether.
Yeah, they are, and this is where Sheffield Wednesday, they've got to be really aware of obviously the threats that Rotherham carry, and just not being silly. You're 2-1 up, 2-0 up, so far. You're cruising. You don't want to then let Rotherham back into the game with a silly goal and giving away needless free kicks. So they need to defend this really well to keep their momentum going.
Well, it's Cafu, the former Nottingham Forest man, the set-piece specialist, who's standing over the ball. Got rid of his gloves for the second half. Rotherham attacking the Sheffield Wednesday penalty area. Floated in high by Cafu into the sun. Jumping is Morrison. He headed it across the edge of the penalty area rather than towards goal. And it's steered upfield by Reece James, brought down neatly by Bannon, who turns away from Lembikissa. Excellent poise from Bannon, but his pass forward didn't reach Masaba. It was intercepted by Lembikissa. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. 9 minutes played in the second half so far. Sheffield Wednesday started the day 11 points from safety. Good juggling by Patterson on the ball, and he's got it back and he's pushed it up to Smith. Smith with his back to goal, tackled by Thierry. Bramall should roll it back to the goalkeeper here. I don't think Bramall knew that Windass was right behind him. Rather casual, nonchalant ball back to the goalkeeper. Johansson was able to clear, and Rotherham have got to go up through the gears if they're to stand any chance of getting back into the game. And Danny Röhrl, it's great to watch him down at the base of this main stand, kicking every ball on the touchline, the Sheffield Wednesday boss.
Yeah, he's loving it, isn't he, what he's seeing from his team, but he's getting involved, clapping when they do something right, and it's just constant communication. It's interesting, some people, or some players rather, take notice of that. I was one that always tried to switch off what the manager says, positive or negative, so it's easier not to get involved, but he's certainly giving his instructions out.
He certainly is. I don't know whether he can be heard at times amid the 30,000 in the stadium. Sheffield Wednesday cleared through Reece James, only his second league start of the season so far, the former Blackpool man who joined on a permanent contract in the summer after an excellent loan spell last year. Goes out of play for a Rotherham throw. Not quite level with the edge of the penalty area, but not far from it. Peltier is the man who's going to hurl this in long. Might have heard a ripple of applause for the Sheffield Wednesday subs who are warming up a long way down below us. Long throw up towards a Hugill inside the penalty area, and it's swept clear by Byers, out of play. Rotherham United have themselves a corner. Aston Villa lead Luton by a goal to nil in the Premier League, and John McGinn has got that goal. Villa hoping for 12 straight home league wins in the Premier League. There will be a corner then for Rotherham on the far side of the field as we look at it. Plenty forward as it's taken short to Lembikis on the edge of the penalty area. Back to Thierry. Thierry drives in the cross. It wasn't a good one. Headed away by the first man. It's come back to the near side now, and Bramall steaming down the left-hand channel. Now, was he fouled there by Patterson? He certainly looked like he was blocked off by Callum Patterson, but the referee said no. In the end, it's a Rotherham throw. On Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. More than 120 commentaries this season, exclusive to national radio. Nobody does live football from the EFL bigger or better than we do. We've got Coventry against West Brom in the Championship on Monday. Friday night, Leicester against Leeds. Tuesday night, the Women's Nations League. Wednesday, the Carabao Cup on the network. Still to come today, Gallagher Premiership Rugby. Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints once we're done here. And then live NFL. Long throw Peltier, left wing position for Rotherham. They're 2-0 down into the box. Misjudged, could fall for Anya Dinma, could fall for the left boot inside the penalty area of Cafu, I think it was. In fact, it was Revan, the substitute, and he hammered it high over the top into the upper tier of the West Stand. That's easily Rotherham's best chance so far, and Revan has spurned it.
Yeah, he has, and I think obviously he's seeing through a lot of bodies, and I think he's trying to get enough on the strike to potentially get through the bodies, but by doing that it sails over the bar. But that's what I'm saying about Sheffield Wednesday, how they've got to be concentrated, because really that's something out of nothing for Rotherham. Could have quite easily gone in the back of the net and get them back in the game.
Sheffield Wednesday lead 2-0. Sprinting forward is Iorfa into opposition territory, shoots the edge of the box, takes a deflection off Bramall and rolls behind for a corner at the Kop end. Iorfa on an inspired surge there from the halfway line, the centre half. He thought, why not have a go on Derby Day, and it's a corner.
Yeah, why not? I think it was Masaba, though. He made a fantastic run, and if he can just be a bit clever and slip that little reverse ball in, Masaba's in front of goal, but you can't blame him for giving it a go.
What can Sheffield Wednesday do from the corner? It's going to be Windass to take it, right-footed and in swinging into the near post. Smith is in there on a hat-trick. It'll be blocked off by Morrison and hammered away by Jordan Hugill downfield. Up to the halfway line. One or two shouts from behind the goal for handball. Referee says play on. Nearly an hour gone. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. Talksport with the Sunday session live right now. All the goals as they go in. Make sure you download the Talksport app. Patterson's low ball in from the right wing position is gathered by Johansson. Sprawling save on the edge of his 6-yard line. And Michael Smith was never likely to get there. What a game he's had. He scored 21 goals for Sheffield Wednesday last year in all competitions. Prior to that, 25 in his final season as a Rotherham player. He knows how to get promoted from League One, does Michael Smith. Rotherham maybe just about starting to work their way into the game a little bit, but they haven't had an effort on target just yet. Here's Cafu, the number 7, threading it forward to the near side, and Bramall's cross gathered by a stretching Dawson. Nobody really challenging the goalkeeper inside his 6-yard area. And now Sheffield Wednesday on the counter with James, far side the left, a long way from our commentary position. He's given it straight to Peltier. This is easily Rotherham's best spell of the game, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
It is, and it's just starting to get a bit stretched. That from James. There's an acknowledgement between himself and Masaba, but he doesn't need to play that ball. He can just keep it. They can recycle it, Sheffield Wednesday, and just take that little bit of pressure off and that momentum that Rotherham are building.
Sheffield Wednesday have had such a long wait for a league win. I suppose their last league victory, in a sense, was the playoff final win over Barnsley in May, just over 150 days ago. It's felt like a long time since Darren Moore's departure, the dreadful era of Zisco Munoz, who only won one game, and that was on penalties in the Carabao Cup at Stockport County, against Stockport County. Sheffield Wednesday desperate for that first championship win of this season. They're 2-0 up, but there's half an hour to go. Bannon's played it forward now to Windass, on to Smith. Smith on the edge of the penalty area, angle against him, shoots! Just wide of goal! Brilliant run by Smith, and a fine shot. Johansson will say he had it covered. It looked like for a second it was heading for the bottom corner, but it stays out. Still just 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, it does really well. Windass on the half turn. It's a good ball through, and Smith, the angle was against him, and you're thinking, can you find a teammate? Can you pass it? But you know what? You're 2-0 up. You're on a hat-trick. Why not give it a go? And I'll tell you what, it wasn't far away.
There's a Sheffield Wednesday player down at the moment. I think it is Windass who played that pass forward to Michael Smith, and he's being treated. They want to bring on Will Volks, a former Rotherham player, to Sheffield Wednesday very shortly. And Rotherham themselves are going to make a change, and it's Sam Klukas who's stripped and ready to go in red and white, and getting some final instructions from Matt Taylor. The hour mark, of course, a regular pivot point for changes in the game and substitutions. Remember, once the weekend's football is all done and dusted, you can join Talksport Breakfast from 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. every weekday, for a recap of what's happened and a look ahead to the rest of the week. Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend with you tomorrow. Jeff Stelling joins our team from December. And on tomorrow's show, the England prop Joe Marler after the Rugby World Cup, and Carl Froch to reflect on all of the boxing drama this weekend that we brought you on Talk Sport. Now then, here come the changes for Rotherham. Cafu off, and here comes the former Stoke man Klukas. Most of his appearances for the club have come from the bench so far. I don't think Cafu knows that his number is up just yet.
That old trick, you look the other way and hope that you don't have to come off.
Well, you will eventually. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, a former number 7. As Cafu eventually does trudge off, doesn't look happy to leave the field.
Yeah, he's not impressed, is he?
What's the body language of the Rotherham players like, Courtney? Is it a happy camp? From what you can tell, it's never easy when you're down at the bottom.
No, I think the start was good, and then obviously Sheffield Wednesday really improved through the first half. Obviously scored a couple of goals, and I think they look quite dejected at the moment.
Well, Byers is going to leave the field here for Sheffield Wednesday, and he's going to get a standing ovation. Windass has been treated and will be able to come back on. So Byers replaced by the former Rotherham man Will Volks. Sheffield Wednesday will be temporarily down to 10 men for just a few moments. England 5 wickets down, chasing 230 against India at the Cricket World Cup. West Ham 0, Everton 1 in the Premier League. Aston Villa 1, Luton 0. Goalless Brighton against Fulham, and Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. Manchester United against Manchester City is at 3:30. That is live for you on Talk. They'll keep you updated on Talk Sport with all the very latest. Sunday session is live at the moment from Old Trafford, so you'll get the goals as they go in. We've got Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints to come on Talk Sport 2 once we're done here. And Sheffield Wednesday still waiting to get Windass back onto the field. The fourth official looks towards the referee, who finally gets the signal. Windass comes back on. Sheffield Wednesday restored to their full complement. 2-0 up, and they've got to manage the game now. This is the difficulty here for Sheffield Wednesday, with the position that they're in. They haven't won a game for a long time. Sometimes as a footballer you forget how to win, Courtney.
Yeah, you do. It becomes a habit both ways. That's winning and losing. And make no mistake about it, if Rotherham somehow find a goal from somewhere, the nerves then set in, even though, for me, Sheffield Wednesday have been completely dominant for most of this game. But they are having a moment. You're never going to be in full control of the game for 90 minutes. And this is Rotherham's good spell at the moment.
Peltier's long throw into the penalty area, headed behind by Iorfa with that little wristband on, and that's a corner to Rotherham United, their third of the game, in front of the Leppings Lane end and those 3,000 plus away supporters. Sam Klukas, the flamehead Klukas, to swing that in high, left-footed. Goalkeeper gathers it very well. Dawson backpedaling with Morrison looking to beat him to it. Good handling from Cameron Dawson. Brighton 1, Fulham 0 in the Premier League. Evan Ferguson has Brighton in front, winless in 3 in the Premier League, coming into today, Roberto De Zerbi's side. But they lead against Fulham, who have struggled away from home. Long ball by Dawson downfield. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham here. Michael Smith on a hat-trick. On to Patterson, who tries to lob the goalkeeper from a long way out. It's wide, but the referee had spotted a foul on Bramall in the build-up anyway. And it's a free kick to Rotherham. The long-suffering Rotherham fans, Courtney, have had a lot of disappointment on the road in the last year. Matt Taylor trying to do something about that, of course, trying to change it, but they've been better in the second half, but not good enough ultimately so far.
Yeah, I think they've been more competitive, I would say, in terms of those 50-50s and set pieces causing a bit of chaos in the box. They've certainly looked more dangerous, but they've not really put a lot of passes together. Pattern of play been really dangerous, although Onyedinma was nearly in them. But again, that's from a set piece and just the battle, fighting to try and get something rather than creating something really clear cut.
Onyedinma stretching to reach a flick on downfield, but he couldn't quite reach it before it trickled through into the gloves of the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper Cameron Dawson. And Sheffield Wednesday had possession, not created much in the second half, the home team, but they are sitting a little deeper as they try to hold on to their lead. Here's Volks, the number 4, middle of midfield. Spins away from Ollie Rathbone. And now it's up towards Musaba. Musaba just shy of the halfway line, back to Volks. Sheffield Wednesday played some good football at times. Don't look like a team who've been rooted to the bottom of the Championship pretty much since the very start of the season. Their only points have come in 3 draws. Away at Leeds, at home to Middlesbrough, and at home to Huddersfield. Musaba inside left channel, getting in behind Morrison here. 2 waiting for the pullback in the middle. Musaba tried to go for goal on his own. Beaten to it by a late slide tackle from Peltier before he could get the shot away. Another Sheffield Wednesday corner at the Kop end. They're 2-0 up on Talksport 2, and we're now into the final quarter of the game.
Musaba does really well to bring this ball down. It's a ball that's difficult to control because it's coming over the back of his head, but gets down well and then tries to cut in, but it just gets away from him.
Corner's taken short to Bannon. Back out wide to the taker, Windass. Floats it in high. Headed away by Morrison. Diaby was up there. And then the thumping shot on the volley is just wide by Volks from the edge of the D. Thought about it against his old team. And former Rotherham players on the score sheet has been a theme of this derby today. Volks, it just bounced a couple of yards wide.
Yeah, and it comes out. It's very inviting. It holds up in the air for a while. It's looping and watching it all the way, Volks, and hits it well, but again, just a few yards wide of the post.
And the ball will be cleared downfield by the Rotherham goalkeeper, Victor Hansen. England continue to labour, chasing 230 against India at the Cricket World Cup. 5 wickets down. The last time we checked England. And it is a struggle. Updates throughout the day on Talksport, as I say, on the Sunday session. The Manchester derby at 3:30, so an hour until kick-off at Old Trafford. The ball is with Sheffield Wednesday, and it's rattled off the shins of Peltier by Windass, and out of play for a Sheffield Wednesday throw just shy of the halfway line. All about managing the game now. They have a trip to Bristol City to come before a home game against Millwall. Rotherham will be relieved to be back at the New York Stadium for 2 games next. Queen's Park Rangers to come, and then a daunting game against Ipswich Town. Lembakissa's just slid in hard on Musaba, who was caught very late. Sheffield Wednesday bench not happy with the challenge. Sheffield Wednesday players hadn't seen it initially. In the end, James puts it out of play. Musaba's down and he's hurt here, Courtney.
Yeah, and it's, you know what, if I'm glad we've not got VAR in play, I must admit. But if VAR is in play, that's going to get looked at very heavily, because Bramall, yes, initially he does win the ball, but the force that he goes in with and the follow through wasn't needed. For me, that's it should be a yellow card, absolute minimum.
And Rotherham are going to take the opportunity now to make a double change. Georgie Kelly, who is often a scorer of important goals, will take to the field. Off goes Christ Tiehi, and an attacking change. I think they are going to go back to a back four here, Rotherham United now, because Peltier is going off. And here comes the club record signing, Sam Nombe, who is still to get off the mark for his new club. He knows Matt Taylor well from their days together at Exeter, and in fact Taylor's also taken off the two players who were on yellow cards in making those changes. Rotherham, just like Sheffield Wednesday, are not particularly prolific scorers. Brighton 1, Fulham 0, a latest score. Aston Villa 1, Luton 0. Everton lead at West Ham by a goal to nil, and Everton looking to move 5 points clear of the relegation zone in the Premier League. Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 0 is a latest score. And in the Scottish Premiership, Kilmarnock winners over Aberdeen in the early kick-off, and Rangers against Hearts gets underway at 3. Musaba will be able to continue here, having received some treatment, and he walks across a little gingerly to the near side, but he'll be back on his feet, and Sheffield Wednesday will be back to their full complement of 11 in just a few moments' time. Still lovely sunshine north of the city of Sheffield. Lots of sunshine on the crowd in the north stand, and just little flickers away to our left in Cameron Dawson's penalty area, the end towards which Rotherham are attacking in this second half. Less than 20 minutes to go now. Sheffield Wednesday have the ball back, and they have a goal kick, and they lead 2-0, and at the moment looking relatively comfortable. But as we know, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, one goal can change things pretty quickly. What have Rotherham done in terms of maybe a shift in shape since that double substitution?
Yeah, it looks like they've gone into a 4-3-1-2 to me. It might change a 4-4-2 out of possession, but just changing it up and trying to get back into the game. I think they initially changed formations to try and match Sheffield Wednesday up, but it just didn't work at all.
Long ball downfield for Sheffield Wednesday. The flip by Michael Smith. Windass through the middle, gathered by the goalkeeper, who was quick off his line. Windass was nearly in there for what would certainly be the clinching goal for Sheffield Wednesday. As it is, there's still a little bit of jeopardy in the game. Sheffield Wednesday readying another change shortly, as Iorfa pokes the ball away in front of Georgie Kelly. The bald-headed substitute has come on. Georgie Kelly has scored a memorable clinching goal on the final day in 2022 to help secure Rotherham's promotion back to the Championship. Last year they survived. This year they're very much ensconced in a relegation battle again. They've played one fewer game than most of the sides around them, but if it stays like this, they'll still be 5 points from safety. Musaba's gone down again, and I don't think he's going to be able to continue here. In fact, they're getting John Buckley ready to come on, Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a shame, because he's had a fantastic day, hasn't he? And as I mentioned earlier, I think he deserved the goal for his overall performance, but especially with how exciting and he's been today, it's best to get him off now if you can. Make sure that it's an injury that you can deal with in the week, rather than making it worse and him being out for a number of games. And rightly so, he gets a standing ovation from Hillsborough.
He's arguably been the man of the match, Anthony Musaba, involved in the second goal, and whilst he wasn't on the score sheet himself, clearly a 22-year-old with great talent. And John Buckley, the young loanee from Blackburn Rovers, is going to take to the field here a like-for-like replacement. Hard work still the key for Sheffield Wednesday. The job is far from done yet. 2-0 up with just over a quarter of an hour remaining. And Sam Nombe has prevented the ball from going out of play for a goal kick here, but it will be a throw to Sheffield Wednesday in their right back position. And Callum Patterson just wasted away a few seconds there. He knew it was a throw, and yet he tried to tap it back to Dawson as though it was a goal kick. Eventually hoists the throw long goes about 30 yards, and a miscue from Morrison, and Windass could dart forward here on the counter-attack. He's played it left to James in space, inside left channel, thinks about a shot through the middle towards Buckley, the newly arrived. The first touch is heavy, but Buckley then slides in to win it back very impressively indeed. Long legs to win it back, given away by Volks. It's come back to Revan for Rotherham. A long way from halfway. Revan trying to burst forward up into Sheffield Wednesday territory, but Patterson working very hard to track back and win it. Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0 is the latest score. 2 quick goals for Liverpool, scored by Diogo Jota and Darwin Núñez. Liverpool haven't lost at Anfield to Nottingham Forest since 1969. So there have been goals in all 4 of the Premier League games so far today, ahead of the Manchester derby at 3:30. For the very latest, you'll be able to join Talksport. Make sure you use the Talksport app, and you can swipe between both stations at your leisure today, because we've got Gallagher Premiership Rugby from Newcastle once we're done here with Mike McCarthy and Andrew McKenna. Rotherham on the attack with Nombe, 2-0 down. They go backwards to Onyedinma, and now Lembakissa just inside Sheffield Wednesday territory. Square ball to Rathbone, back to the halfway line, and Morrison sweeping it to his left, and Bramall now playing in a centre defensive position here. 15 minutes to go. Rotherham looking for options and impetus in attack, but nobody's really making those forward runs. In fact, that is an incisive pass from Rathbone. It's cut back by Revan, steered away by Iorfa at the near post, and flicked further clear by Bannon. They dealt with that relatively calmly, Sheffield Wednesday. Windass, though, going back towards the dead ball line, gets a free kick after a foul by Bramall. And the Rotherham fans are really frustrated on their feet behind the goal.
Yeah, they are, and I think Nombe is as well, because it's not Nombe, who is it? Not sure who it is there. It's Hugo, and the fact that there should have been a cutback. Revan does really well. He gets into a good area, and then he just peels off Hugo as everyone's retreating back to the goal. He peels off to about 12 yards out. He's in acres of space, nobody round him, but Revan's not really looking and just blindly puts the ball in the box, and it's a shame because it would have been a really good opportunity for Rotherham.
It looks like Sheffield Wednesday are going to end the week with a long-awaited win, and you can start your week tomorrow on Talksport. White and Jordan 10 till 1. They've got Martin Keown with them tomorrow. The Outspoken podcast is live every weekday. Had some great guests on both morning shows, White and Jordan and Breakfast this week. The likes of Emmanuel Adebayor, Paul Barber and Thomas Frank have all been on. Been as super listeners ever. Sheffield Wednesday have got a throw midway inside Rotherham territory, the north stand side of the ground. It's a lovely stand to look at, packed full of Sheffield Wednesday supporters. A couple of flags at the base of it. Bannon scoops it long, high up the middle, headed away by Bramall. Smith was nearly in there. Bouncing ball midway inside the Rotherham half, nudged on by Nombe to Kelly. Kelly on the burst, but he's blocked off by Volks. Sheffield Wednesday winning a lot of the second balls. Volks has conceded a free kick for that challenge on Kelly. But I guess that tells you all you need to know. It's been a really battling and in the circumstances, impressive Sheffield Wednesday performance.
Yeah, it has, and we've seen both sides of it. In the first half, it was about them in possession and being inventive and dynamic, and now in the second half, they're having to battle, they're having to win their 1v1s with their player, and they're doing that really well, and it's quite interesting now, because Rotherham, they've gone to a 3-4-3, so the three of Lembakissa, Morrison and Bramall at the back, the four across the midfield. There's Hugo and Kelly up top with Nombe just behind.
And Hugo's flicked the ball onto Nombe from a free kick inside the penalty area, but Nombe can't find a teammate from the edge of the 18-yard box, and it's swept away by Reece James. A lot of Sheffield Wednesday supporters have talked about playing players in the right positions, and in Reece James you've got a left-back who's more than capable of playing in the right position today. That wasn't always the case under Zisco. And Barry Bannon's won a free kick. Used his experience there, Bannon just rolled his man Klukas. Bannon, one of the smallest players on the field, but you won't see too many more cultured players than him. Got his socks rolled down his shins now, Barry Bannon. He has been at Sheffield Wednesday for a long time. And maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of at least a run towards a slightly more respectable season for Sheffield Wednesday, even if they can't stay up. But who knows, at this point they'd still be Courtney a long way off safety. 8 points is a massive gap to make up, but maybe they'll go on a run now, who knows.
Yeah, they wouldn't, and this is the Championship, it's always so tight, so you put a run of games together, especially because they always come thick and fast, weekend, midweek, most weeks. So if you can get some confidence, that momentum, and put a decent run together, you can shoot up the table. As we've mentioned, it's a big ask, but this is a really good start.
And listening to Talksport 2, 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday it remains, and they're going to make another double change. Paul Valentin and JD Gassama are both ready to come on. Valentin, the Spaniard, for Patterson. That's a slightly more defensive option at right wing back for Sheffield Wednesday. And Patterson has been superb. The crowd are packed in around us here in the main stand, and most of them are getting to their feet to applaud. And the other change sees Windass go off. And I mentioned the French youth international, formerly of Paris Saint-Germain, JD Gassama, who is still looking for his first Sheffield Wednesday goal. But it's not so much about goals at this point with 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. It's about the work rate here for Sheffield Wednesday. And Valentin will take the throw. First league win it would be, at the 14th time of asking, the record for the most games without a win at the start of a second-tier season. Ironically, Rotherham United in 04-05, they failed to win any of their first 20 league games, and unsurprisingly they were relegated. A throw to Sheffield Wednesday on halfway. Danny Röhl will be delighted, but it's not done yet. 29,038 here today, with 3,000 of those Rotherham supporters. We did say it was around 30,000 or so. Excellent crowd at Hillsborough. And Sheffield Wednesday with Valentin being tripped, and that's a free kick rolling around in front of Matt Taylor, who was a big centre-half in his playing days, and I don't think he's having any of that, Matt Taylor.
No, it was a tough one though, because he gets caught quite high. It's one of those where you get caught double, so initially it's on your foot, then as you go round he's got caught on the inside of the knee as well, so it'll definitely be a sore one. But yeah, I think he's just taking his time. Added an extra roll in there just to try and add a few more seconds to the clock.
Bernard, Diaby and Iorfa are all forward for Sheffield Wednesday. Free kick near side, right in front of the Rotherham technical area, taken short by Volks. Gets it back from Bannon, nudges it onto the near side, and Buckley in field to Bannon again. Sheffield Wednesday keeping the ball well at times in this game and playing with good composure. They've gone direct when they've had to, and they've kept it when they've had to. He's done a lot of work clearly on the training ground, Danny Röhl, in terms of shape as well off the ball. Iorfa's got such good pace, and he was dragged down there by Rathbone. He'd absolutely skinned him down that left-hand channel. It was Hugo with the foul. That's a yellow card. Free kick in a dangerous position for Sheffield Wednesday. 2-0 up.
Yeah, it was brilliant the way that Iorfa initially, he just drops his shoulder like he's going to go backwards and play the ball, but then that little quick change of direction and then the pace to go with it to get down that left-hand side, and Rathbone, that's the only thing he could do to stop him, bring him down.
West Ham 0, Everton 1, Aston Villa 1, Luton 0, Brighton 1, Fulham 0, Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0. It's 2-0 here to Sheffield Wednesday against Rotherham. You're up to date in the Premier League and the EFL. On your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. Bannon and Volks, the two options from the free kick. Midway inside the Rotherham half, about 7-8 yards from the corner of the penalty area. Will it be the right foot of Volks or the left foot of Bannon? Volks, the number 4, to whip it in high to the far post. It takes a bounce and drifts wide. Iorfa was lurking inside the 6-yard box but couldn't get the touch.
Yeah, it's a good ball in though, isn't it? It's whipped in, it's away from bodies, and Iorfa as well to try and get to it, but in the end it's defended well by Rotherham.
England 68 for 5. They're chasing 230 against India at the Cricket World Cup. England have been poor so far. Well, they started off even worse. I think they were 30 for 4 at one point. Back it goes to goalkeeper Johansson, who steers the ball high upfield for Rotherham, and a powerful header out of play from Volks, who's done his diligent work impressively since coming onto the field. And Rotherham heading for another away defeat. Only 7 league wins in the whole of 2023 for Rotherham United. 22 goals conceded in 8 away games so far this season. That does include 6 they let in at Stoke in the Carabao Cup. They've got a free kick on the halfway line. Does it feel like they really believe they can get back in it, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk?
No, not particularly, and I think as well Sheffield Wednesday are quite happy in the way this game's going. They're happy to scrap it out. Every time they look round they'll see a few more seconds go up on that clock, and it's going to be a lot to ask now for Rotherham, with what would be 6 minutes plus added to to get back into this game.
Hansen, the goalkeeper's come forward to belt a free kick long from the halfway line. It's swerving right to left. It evaded Revan, and the offside flag was up. How on earth can you have players who are lining up for a free kick that's been taken from the halfway line, lining up on the edge of the box and offside in that position?
Yeah, it's terrible, really, especially when it's the opposite side of, so you can see down the line as to where the defenders are. But looking down to our left now, some of the Rotherham fans making a swift exit, trying to beat the traffic. They've seen enough.
Yes, absolutely. Many of them don't want to stay. You can't really blame them. That away end is slowly thinning out. The vast majority have stayed as Dawson punts the ball clear long for Sheffield Wednesday from their free kick. High upfield where it's gathered by Johansson, the Rotherham goalkeeper. Johansson wants to urge his teammates forward, gesticulating to them to get up the pitch. Danny Roll's name was being chanted there by the Sheffield Wednesday fans. Long from Johansson, the goalkeeper. They've got Nombe up there, they've got Hugel up there. Hugel can't win the header. It's going to be brought down on the far side, the right by Onyedinma, but he's had it whipped off his toes by Volks, and James knocks the ball off the shins of the onrushing Klukas and out of play for a Sheffield Wednesday throw. Well, he'd love a first win, Danny Roll. That's the most important thing. A clean sheet to go with it would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I think teams are built on that defensive solidity. Obviously, goals win games, but there's a confidence in keeping a clean sheet as well. So, you got a couple of goals, the forwards and the midfielders are happy. If you keep a clean sheet, the defence is happy. So it's good news all round.
5 minutes plus stoppage time to go at Hillsborough on Talksport 2. It does feel like the game is petering out here now. For the most part, it's been a frenetic derby and been played at a very exciting place. But ultimately, Sheffield Wednesday look comfortable here. Half-time at Villa Park. Aston Villa lead Luton by a goal to nil. Likewise, Brighton lead Fulham at the break in the Premier League. Talksport, the Sunday session for all the goals as they go in once we're done here. And on Talksport 2, you can listen to the rugby Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints. We'll be going there straight after the final whistle. So make sure you stick with us on Talksport 2 if you want the rugby, followed by the NFL. The ball is stabbed forward into opposition territory by Klukas, but intercepted, well retrieved by Bernard. Diaby, back to the goalkeeper, Dawson. Dawson smashes it long, high first time. And Lembakissa will take a throw for Rotherham, who, there's no lack of effort from these Rotherham players, but the belief just seems to be gone. With 4 minutes to go, some of them look like they can't wait to get off the pitch.
Yeah, and I think even earlier than that, maybe with 15 minutes or so to go, I still had that same feeling with them. And at that point, if you get a goal, if you're 2-1 up, you can make it really nervy for Sheffield Wednesday. But I feel like these Rotherham players were just resigned to the loss.
I guess there'll be pressure on Matt Taylor. It was always going to be a difficult season, but if things just aren't working, and particularly away from home, this record, he just can't find the remedy for the away form that they've got, and the criticism will continue. Georgie Kelly's gone for goal from behind the halfway line, and it's wide, 10 yards wide or so. All sorts of ambition in terms of long-range efforts on the pitch today, and Georgie Kelly, that was within Harry Kane's sort of range. And Dawson would not have got there had it been on target. I think he was fairly confident, though, that it was going to drift wide.
Yeah, I think from early on, as he saw the trajectory of the shot, he realised it was going wide, Dawson. But why not for Georgie Kelly? It's been a frustrating afternoon for Rotherham. So if the chance, if the opportunity seizes itself, then why not have a go?
Gassama's in for Sheffield Wednesday. Right hand edge of the penalty area, twisting, turning onto his left foot. Gassama thinks about a shot, lays it square instead, and it's intercepted by Lembakissa. And Onyedinma now charging forward before Barry Bannon could get there. Onyedinma, terrific pace, beyond 2 and 3. He's run 50 yards here, Fred Onyedinma. Now he's drifting into a central position. Lays it square to Rathbone. Rathbone from 25 yards. His touch was heavy. Had to poke it onto Revan. Back to Rathbone. Dead ball line. Cuts it back across. Blocked by Diaby. Last touch was off Rathbone. Goal kick. Well, maybe if Rotherham had attacked with that sort of purpose earlier in the game, they might have got something out of it, but in the end it's a goal kick. Still 2-0 Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, and it's a brilliant block in the end, and the Sheffield Wednesday defenders and goalkeeper there, Dawson, celebrating that like a goal, and rightly so. But what I did love is Valentin, he's gone up in the attack and he sprints back. He's got to be a good 80 yards to get himself back in position, and that shows how important this clean sheet is to Sheffield Wednesday.
Half-time at Anfield, Liverpool 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Manchester United and Manchester City at 3:30. In the Scottish Premiership, Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen, a full-time score from earlier. Rangers against Hearts at 3 o'clock, and Philippe Clement's side start the day 8 points behind Celtic. Klukas for Rotherham, midway inside his own half, out to the near side in a congested area where Revan was waiting in the left-back position. And surrounded by blue and white shirts. Revan with a throw back to Bramall. Bramall scoops it long. The centre-half area has been a massive issue for Rotherham all season. They've had a lot of injuries in that area. Daniel Ayala, the new signing, only has just arrived at the club, so you can understand Matt Taylor putting him on the bench. And actually, if there is some mitigation for Matt Taylor, it's a really small squad that he's got.
Yeah, it isn't. But I think everyone's fighting those battles within the Championship in terms of, at the bottom end, that squad depth, that, the resources that they've got access to.
Well, Michael Smith has just been awarded the Man of the Match award, a tireless performance and the 2 goals. Do you agree with that one, Courtney?
Yeah, definitely. And it wasn't just his goals. The fact that you're seeing him now is defending the ball really well. And his hold-up play as well, everything into him. I think there was only one instance I remember that the ball's gone into him. It hasn't really stuck. So his all-round play, both in and out of possession today, has been fantastic.
You can see Chris Powell and Henrik Pedersen on the touchline as well, applauding Michael Smith. Their influence is going to have been really important in these first couple of weeks for the new boss, Danny Röhl. 4 minutes added. Sheffield Wednesday closing in on a first league win of the season. They've had to wait until late October. They're nearly there. 4 minutes to go. 2-0 up against Rotherham United. It may not quite have the fire and excitement of a Steel City derby, but to get one over your local rivals in the Championship wouldn't be a bad way to kickstart Sheffield Wednesday's season. It won't lift them off the bottom. They'll stay rooted to the bottom, but it's another step potentially closer to what would be an incredible escape. A throw for Rotherham, long into the penalty area from Onyedinma towards Kelly. With his back to goal is Nombe. He's headed it down. Revan on the half volley. Strikes it just wide. Goalkeeper Dawson was plunging. It was a super strike from Sebastian Revan, and so close to his first Rotherham goal. That's as close as they come all afternoon.
Yeah, it wasn't far away, was it? It struck really well by Revan, and it had Dawson scrambling. I'm not, he wasn't convinced that wasn't sneaking in the bottom left-hand corner, and neither was I, but luckily for Dawson, he can see it past the post.
Lots of Sheffield Wednesday fans heading out of the stadium now, I think confident that the job is done. Is the traffic that bad around here? You come here more often than me.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it really is.
Well, I'll be listening to Talksport and Talksport 2 in the car on the way home. Rugby here if you'd like that on Talksport 2. Premier League goals as they go in on Talksport. Just download the app and you'll be able to swipe between the 2 stations. Plus, of course, listen on AM, on DAB and via your smart speaker. Long ball by Klukas downfield for Rotherham. Kelly is chasing. Kelly's evaded the defender. He's been dragged down there by Bernard. Oh, the free kick's gone the other way. The assistant flagged, and he flagged in favour of Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, that's an interesting one. Georgie Kelly is not happy about that.
2 minutes of the 4 have been played. The 4 added. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham 0. We just heard Jordan Pickford's made a remarkable last-minute save at London Stadium. As far as we know, they're still playing. West Ham 0, Everton 1 is the latest score. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the goal and Jordan Pickford preserving the lead. Very late on at London Stadium there. 90 seconds to go here. It will be a year without an away win for Rotherham United, and they'll only be 3 points ahead of Sheffield Wednesday. Rathbone midway inside his own half for Rotherham, over the halfway line, and Hugo's going to chase after this, but he's always going to be beaten for pace by Iorfa. Hugo, little touch in the back of Iorfa. Not much, but enough to send the defender to ground. Free kick Sheffield Wednesday. They're managing this game very well. I have to say, Courtney, they really do not look like a team that started the day without a win and bottom of the table.
No, they don't. I think both sides of it in terms of the goals, the confidence going forward, but we've seen both sides of the game, because in the second half they've been put under pressure to an extent. I'm not saying Rotherham have been fantastic by any stretch, but they've made it more competitive, and it could have quite easily happened that a lack of confidence Sheffield Wednesday, they could have let Rotherham back into this game, but they haven't, and they've really stood up to the test. And it's a positive sign for them going into their next game against Bristol City.
Yellow card for goalkeeper Dawson for time wasting. We've nearly had the 4 added minutes though. Rotherham fans and Sheffield Wednesday fans continuing to head for the exits here. 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday, and a Sheffield Wednesday throw, which is midway inside the Rotherham half. Matt Taylor stands on the edge of his technical area. His team have been deservedly beaten. It will be today. Scooped forward by Volks down the right-hand side, headed away by Revan. Another looping header from Volks towards Smith. Great downward header to Buckley. Buckley edge of the D. Barry Bannon sizing one up, deflected. Gathered by Johansson. That would have been the crowning glory, a captain's goal. But that's the full-time whistle, and Sheffield Wednesday have done it. Finally, a first league win of the new season. At the 14th attempt, Sheffield Wednesday have got over the line. It's a first victory too for the new manager Danny Röhl, the youngest boss in the English Football League. Is it the start of the greatest of great escapes in the Championship for Sheffield Wednesday? They reel in Queen's Park Rangers, they're reeling in Rotherham just above them too. 3 points now the gap between the two sides, 8 the gap between Sheffield Wednesday and Championship safety. A desperate day for Rotherham United, not only beaten by their local rivals, but they're now without an away win for an entire year. Michael Smith with 2 first-half goals against his former club. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Rotherham United 0, and in the end, Sheffield Wednesday thoroughly deserved their first league win over the season. Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
Yeah, they did. I was mightily impressed. As I said earlier on in the season, I was here for the game against Sunderland, and it's night and day from what I've seen. They're aggressive, they were dynamic going forward, they're competing for every single ball. They looked inventive and had a bit of freedom going forward, and then in the second half when Rotherham tried to put the pressure on, they competed extremely well. Didn't look phased and didn't look like a team that haven't won in 13, but of that 14th time of asking, they've got the 3 points, Joe.
Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 winners here. Danny Röhl's name rings around at Hillsborough. We've got live NFL to come for you later on Talksport 2. But first, Gallagher Premiership Rugby. Kick-off just moments away. Newcastle Falcons against Northampton Saints. And we can join our Talksport 2 commentary team of Mike McCarthy and first Andrew McKenna.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, welcome along to the North.